The general manager for the Houston Oilers said, "We are definitely committed to winning because Mr. Adams outbid a number of teams for this man's services."
And the young head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals.
He's wise beyond his years. However, those that had the chance to read the article in Sports Illustrated this week on this young man know that he's earned where he is right there. 10 years as an assistant coach, even though he does have the famous last name.
And on the return for Cincinnati, Mike Stiegel will down it in the end zone. The Cincinnati Bengals, who won the toss, will be starting from their own 20-yard line. And the quarterback, of course, will be Boomer Esiason, who is in probably the biggest slump in his entire career. Meanwhile, we have a flag dropped at the 45-yard line.
One point I wanted to make here, Chad, at the beginning while they give us the penalty is that here's a classic example to me of why they should get rid of the touchback rule. Stiegel was 1 yard deep in the end zone, and he can't run that out. Goodness. So he gets 21 free yards, and the average return in the NFL right now is about 18.5. I mean, that's a freebie. The touchback should only go out to the 10 now, I think. We got to encourage the people to run the kicks back.
It's the rule.
Well, no, I understand that. But see, you were there in New York when you and I should say myself, discussed this with Jerry Seaman and the competition committee. You know, what's the point now to run back a kick in the end zone?
37 of the receiving team while the ball is in the air will re-kick with a 10-yard penalty.
And because, of course, it took place while the ball was in the air, that's the reason for the re-kick. And you sound like you were in a meeting with the competition committee.
No, no,
it's interesting. The point, it is a very valid point because they moved the kickoff from the 40 back to the 35 to encourage kickoff return.
Well, and you and I last week, we were in Denver, and Denver holds 3 kickers. And they have a kicker to do one thing, and what's that?
Oh, he kicks it out of the
stadium. To just blast it out of the end zone. Okay, well, I mean, that's pretty exciting. I can't wait to see that again. You know, let's see some returns. Let's make them come out of the end zone. Or else, if not, then maybe they should invoke the Canadian thing and have a rouge. You know, start up the game big. Maybe have some interesting scores. You know, like 8-7. I know. Well, okay. All right, but now here is a classic example right here. What difference does it make? What are they going to do now?
Kick it through the end zone. Now they bring it out to the 12.
Gee, what a novel thought. Actually, if they're smart, they'll probably pooch kick it here, right? Kick it high.
Well, they just might. They have some options. They went over to a huddle to the far side with Jack Pardee, the head coach of the Oilers.
How about an onside kick?
That would be a nice surprise.
Well, that's a reach, man. I tell you what. I'm excited. I guess it's because
you really are.
It's a 4 o'clock game. I've waited too long.
Oh, you slept too much last.
That's it. That's exactly right.
I've got to put you back on your sleep deprivation schedule. And here's the kickoff, and it is a pooch kick, high and short, forcing the return. And if it goes out of bounds, which it does.
Unbelievable. Jeez.
We have a kickoff out of bounds. The ball will be placed on the 35-yard line. First down.
Do you realize what a big mistake that is? Every advantage they're kicking from the 45. Just handed them a gift.
All right, now let's set up Cincinnati. Boomer Esiason is the quarterback with Harold Green and Eric Bell, the running backs. Tim McGee, Carl Pickens, the wide receivers, and Rodney Holman is the tight end. And that offensive line of Munoz, Kozerski, Arthur, Strafford, and Walter.
Someone to look at in today's game from the offensive side of the ball where the Bengals are concerned. And here you mentioned the 10-yard penalty as a result of the onset. Instead of the 35, they get the 25-yard line. Is Carl Pickens, the rookie who many people felt was the best wide receiver coming out of the draft. The Bengals really got a steal with him. And those of you who follow Bengal football, of course, remember the 95-yard punt return he had against Green Bay. David Shula told us they got to get the ball in his hands.
By rule, when the kickoff goes out of bounds, the return is 30 yards from the spot of the kickoff. So it is spotted at the 25-yard line. And Cincinnati opens on the ground with Harold Green carrying, and they'll pick up about 3 to the 28-yard line. It'll be second down and 7. And that Oiler defense, and it is one of the, if not the best defense in the National Football League. Fuller, Childress, Smith, Jones. Boy, that is a front four. Lathan, Smith, and Robinson, the linebackers. Dishman, Gray, McDowell and Robertson in the secondary.
One person to watch, number 50, Eddie Robinson, a rookie starter. Jim Eddy told us he's a little concerned starting a rookie, but then again, they do have a couple of Pro Bowl players around him.
Second down and 7. Here's Green to the right side, and he is going to go to the 29-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd down and 6 as Jerry Gray pulls him down.
That was some kind of stick by Jerry Gray, former cornerback for the Los Angeles Rams, that they got in Plan B. This is an interesting graphic here because those who have followed Bengal football realize that they are used to throwing the ball a lot, but with the absence of Eddie Brown, their vertical passing game has not been as effective, and as a result, they've been forced to run more. And of course, Harold Green is an outstanding running back, but then again, the passing has been a problem. 114 yards a game.
And Doug Smith is the injured Oiler. And we'll step aside for a moment. We have no score. We're early in the ball game. Houston and Cincinnati. Welcome back to Cincinnati. The injury timeout with Doug Smith, and he is hobbling off. One of the advantages from the standpoint of the Houston Oilers is that they have in reality 5 excellent defensive linemen. So when they have an injury, they have an immediate replacement.
Well, in fact, yeah, despite the travails of Doug Smith, they go now to a former first-round pick Pro Bowler in Lee Williams that they got from the San Diego Chargers. But here, if you get a chance to take a look at this, it appeared that Doug Smith just pulled up lame. He's going to be watch to the top right of your screen. Watch number 99. Here he comes now. Watch as he cuts across. Watch him just grab the back of his leg right here. He just grabs the back of his leg. There you can see he's holding his hamstring standing still. And it appeared that usually the hamstring injuries happen to fast guys, so I don't understand that where Doug's concerned. But
his quickness.
Okay, all right, my mistake. All right, and there we see Lee Williams. Last year, a lot of his season was messed up because of that broken left forearm that you see the big pad on right there. But at the beginning of the season, of course, he was the starting left defensive end while William Fuller held out. And as you mentioned, very versatile performer all along the line. And as a result of him and the other 3, they don't have to blitz too much. They put enough pressure with that front 4.
3rd down and 6. Opening drive of the ball game. Flag is down. Esiason goes deep. Has a man open. Has to wait on it. Has the reception. And that is Jeff Quarry, former Houston Oiler. He beat Jerry Gray, but there was a flag. And it will go against the Bengals. Will bring it back.
As you mentioned, Jeff Quarry was a Plan B acquisition by the Houston Oilers from the Green Bay Packers.
Illegal motion. Offense. 2 men moving. Still 3rd down.
As I mentioned, the Plan B acquisition from Green Bay, he can really run, but because of his injuries, he was never able to prove himself in training camp for the Houston Oilers, and so they wanted to get him on the active roster, put him on procedural waivers, but Cincinnati wasn't stupid. They said, we're going to claim him, and right there you can see he can go get it.
So with the penalty, it is now 3rd down and 11. Cincinnati with 4 wide receivers, 3 on the near side, 1 on the far side. Esiason with a blitz coming, goes to the hot receiver, and that's Brian Brennan. He simply had to get rid of the football as Dishman was there for the Houston Oilers.
And naturally, I say that they don't have to blitz much, and what do they do right off the bat on both 3rd downs? They come with the blitz. Steve Jackson on the corner blitz comes right in Boomer's face, completely untouched. He has the blitz pickup. He throws to the side, but it's only a 6-yard game. So score 1 for Jim Eddy and the Houston defense there. They had the right people in the right spots.
Lee Johnson will be kicking for Cincinnati. Pat Coleman is the return man for the Houston Oilers. Taken at the 28-yard line and then dropped immediately by Leonard Wheeler, number 37, but there's a flag back at the 26-yard line.
That's usually in the area of holding on the part of the Houston Oilers. It'll be interesting to see as to whether or not, Cincinnati.
Holding against the kicking team.
Penalties have really been a problem in this first drive. I mean, a great kick, great coverage, excellent net punt for Lee Johnson. Now he has to do it all over again. It's I should say a point here with regards to holding inside. Usually the holding on offense, that's a given. But see, in the situation here in the middle of the line, the Houston Oilers want to hold the Cincinnati people from running downfield. So a lot of times what you get is kind of a WCW thing. Everybody's grabbing and pulling.
55 offense. Still fourth down.
But take a look. Who's holding who? Take a look at the center right there. Oh, good call there. Randy Kirk just flat out tackled Brown. That's one of the toughest things to do. Take it from a guy who used to snap for punts. Your head's between your legs. You snap. It's very difficult to come off and block somebody.
And so the two penalties hurting Cincinnati, the motion penalty where they would have had the ball deep in Houston territory, and then the penalty on the kick where the Oilers would have been inside their own 30-yard line. Now Pat Coleman set for another return. This kick is not as good. Fair catch. Steps away from it. Takes an Oiler bounce. Will be down at the 44-yard line. And we have another flag at the 28-yard line right along the near sideline.
Well, Cincinnati better hope that's against the Oilers, because that cost them at, what, close to 30 yards in field position.
The ball is spotted at the 44-yard line of Cincinnati. The penalty is against Houston.
Illegal hand to the face. 37 on the kicking team. After the kick, the penalty will be enforced from the spot of the ball.
We have a timeout. We have no score between Houston and Cincinnati. Back in a moment.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the trucks you can depend on, the trucks that last. By the Diamond Anniversary Band. This year, tell her you'd marry her all over again. By Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price. And by your Allstate agent, who wants to be your agent for life. You're in good hands with Allstate.
In the first 2.5 minutes of the ball game here in Cincinnati, we've had a total of 4 penalties. We have a change in the offensive line of the Oilers. John Flannery will be starting for Munchak. Apparently that back spasm bothering him again. Houston, first opportunity on offense from their own 46-yard line. Warren Moon goes quickly outside. Ernest Gibbons, and Gibbons may pick up the first down. Let's look at the Houston Oilers lineup. Offensively, of course, it will be Warren Moon at quarterback. The running back is Lorenzo White, and what a great year he is having, both rushing and receiving. And then the 4 wide receivers, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of their 5th wide receiver, and that'll be Webster Slaughter. And there is an offensive line with a change at left guard, Flannery for Munchak.
I wonder if it was intentional that they went right to Ernest Gibbons. You know, the last couple of weeks, Gibbons has been complaining about the fact that he's not getting enough balls. And he's somebody who is vital to the success of the offense. He is their big play guy. And, you know, in the press, he'd been saying, come on, what's the deal? You got to throw me the ball. And right off the bat, Warren gets his mind right in the game by getting him the ball.
I think the reason they've had the measurement, they're bringing the ball out to spot. I think really the reason that that he went to Gibbons is because of what happened in practice yesterday. Because Gibbons was doing his imitations of all of the quarterbacks around the National Football League, and he came back. He did an imitation of Warren Moon, and the whole team was in absolute hysterics.
Especially when he started to run. Someone actually threw a flag when he started to run and called delay of game. I thought that was great.
Second down and just a couple of inches, as you saw, as they brought the ball out to spot it at the hash mark. And Lorenzo White will pick up the first down. Cincinnati, and a look at their defense, and of course everybody that plays the Houston Oilers, they have to go with their special defense, a form usually of their dime defense. And they will have with their front 5, they call it their pirate, because that's what they call when they have 6 in the secondary. They'll have 4 offensive linemen. James Francis is the lone linebacker, and then the key, of course, are the 6 in the secondary: Jones, Thomas, Bennett, Williams, Price, and Dixon. First down, Houston. Lorenzo White, and he is going to pick up the first down as he goes to the 30-yard line. Darrell Williams with the tackle, the rookie from Miami.
Warren Moon, of course, is the big star in the galaxy, the Houston Oilers, but the man who really has been carrying the offense is this man right here, number 44, Lorenzo White. Going into the bye week last week, he was second in the NFL in yards from scrimmage, and even with the bye week passed, he's still one game behind everybody else. He is still third in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. An interesting point, too, Charlie. He has the best average per catch of all the members of the Oilers, which is interesting when you consider the run and shoot. His average per catch is better than the wide receivers.
And it's a first down at the 30-yard line of Cincinnati. No score in the ball game. 10:40 left first quarter. This is underneath the coverage to Haywood Jeffries. And Jeffries has the ball at the 24-yard line, a gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Mitchell Price makes the tackle.
Haywood is the one physical anomaly of the Fab Four, as it were. Everybody else about 5'9", 5'10", 180. Haywood Jeffries, 6'3", 200 pounds, and you can see by that graphic, one of 5 to hit the century mark in a season in the National Football League.
And as an anomaly, when I was talking to him yesterday, he said, I have great respect for Todd as a player. Not as a broadcaster.
Oh, wait a minute. What's the follow-up to that?
What he said.
I'm sitting here waiting for something funny. Oh, brother. It's because I wore his jersey yesterday at practice.
That's right. In a touch game. Lorenzo White is stopped. Good defensive play. James Francis and Alex Gordon for the Bengals.
James Francis, good job there at middle linebacker. His rookie season led the team in tackles and sacks. Everybody's waiting for him to have another huge year numerically, but he said that's not the issue here. Don't worry about tackles and sacks. Worry about the continuity of our defense and how well we play as a unit. And so he's been doing everything that's been asked of him in Ron Lynn's system, and the result hasn't been so much numbers, but he continues to put out quality play.
Third down and 2. Looks right, throws, Bennett incomplete. Bennett and Thomas break it up. It'll be fourth down, and the field goal team will come on.
And Antoine Bennett doing a little talking to Ernest Givens. I don't know if that's a good idea, because there's somebody that definitely gets fired up when you start to talk. Of course, Ernest is known to yap a little bit himself. A little early in the game for that. That's somebody that can come back to haunt you. Right there is 81.
Illegal motion, offense. 2 men moving. The penalty is declined. Fourth down.
Rather than give Warren Moon another opportunity, they'd rather give the Oilers a field goal opportunity. Al Del Greco. From the 29, just inside the 30, it'll be a 39-yard attempt. He has hit his last 6 in a row. 7 in a row as he converts from 39 yards away, and the Oilers move on top by a score of 3. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. Houston with that 39-yard field goal by Al Del Greco, now out in front of Cincinnati, but in a way a minor victory, maybe a major victory for the defense of the Bengals.
Well, when you get the ball on your own 48-yard line, you figure that's no drive at all, and really to stifle them and make a kick a 40-yard field goal, you're right. Considering the problems they had 2 weeks ago against Minnesota when their defense was just a total sieve when they got spanked by a 42-7 count, I agree. I think that's a victory for the defense.
High and short. And Stiegel returns. He's to the 15, the 20, and cut down at the 22-yard line. Milt Stiegel, the rookie from Miami. And now for an update, let's go to New York and Bob Costas. Bob?
From the rookie out of Miami to the undefeated team in Miami, the Dolphins come from behind at home against the Falcons with 5 minutes remaining. Mark Higgs' 1-yard touchdown run gives them the lead that they hold on to. They come back and beat the Falcons 21-17. So in this, the 20th anniversary year of their perfect season of 1972, the Dolphins are 5-0. The Eagles, meanwhile, lost at Kansas City. Miami's the only undefeated team left. Charlie?
Thank you, Bob. And something else, are we seeing a resurgence of the teams from the AFC?
Well, I think so. I think
Harold Green, the ball carrier. Go ahead.
In fairness to Philadelphia, coming off a Monday night game, that they had a short week, had to travel. Everybody's already, a lot of the press are already mailing them the Lombardi Trophy, thinking that they've already won it. And I think a lot of that, when you have to play as the overdog week in and week out, it's going to come back to bite you. And so the emotional victory with regards to over the Cowboys combined with the short week, in Kansas City, they're a good team.
They're a very good team. Cincinnati with a double tight end set. And it is 2nd down and 7. Jim Riggs, the tight end who splits out wide to the far side. Esiason to throw. Keeps his back in. Goes deep. And he overthrows Tim McGee. And once again, McGee gets behind the secondary. This time he had a step on Chris Dishman.
Well, the reaction of Boomer Esiason says it all. David Shula admitted to us just flat out. He said that Boomer is in a slump. He just can't quite get it there. McGee wide open man for man. Look at the reaction he has. Doggone it. What's the deal? McGee, man-for-man coverage right down the middle of the field. He's definitely got Dishman beat right to the post, just a little bit too far, and Boomer's not happy with himself.
How bad a slump for Boomer Esiason? His quarterback rating is 46.8. And it doesn't get much lower than that. Flags are down.
Charlie, a lot of times the whole quarterback rating thing can be confusing when you look at the numbers. But take a look at the all-time numbers with regards to Boomer Esiason, 4th all-time. 3 pretty fair quarterbacks in front of him. And the average for a quarterback right around 70. So that 84 all-time coming into the season, very impressive. Take a look at his numbers right now. Worst in the National Football League. So I don't think it was a big surprise when Dave Shula said, yes, this has been somewhat of a prolonged slump. 4 interceptions 2 weeks ago against the Vikings.
They're down at 13. 4 wide receivers. Boomer from the shotgun. Ryan Brennan, the motion man. He stops, picks up an Oiler, and the pass is high, and it is incomplete to Carl Pickens. So it will be 4th down. And Lee Johnson will come in to get.
Jim Eddy did an outstanding job there. Once again, he must have seen something in the blocking scheme of the Cincinnati Bengals. They had the corner blitz against Steve Jackson coming right into Boomer's face, and he hurried the ball, threw it to, as you mentioned, threw it to Pickens, but people were all over it.
When we talked to Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator for the Oilers, we asked him, there he is, we asked him about the body language. He always talks about the body language of the opposition. He says Cincinnati's body language is that they're looking to Boomer. They want to go to Boomer. They want Boomer to make the big play. They're waiting on him to make the big play. And until he does, they're not going to be successful. Good kick.
Oh, it was.
Coleman takes it at the 32 and falls down. He was trying to get outside of Darrell Williams and just couldn't quite make it. I think his mind got around the corner before his legs did. We've got a timeout and back in a moment. When we talked with Warren Moon at practice yesterday, he wanted to be sure and say hello to his mother, Pat, who's recovering from a colon operation in Methodist Hospital in Houston, and she is doing well, and we pass on his big hello and his warm wishes, and ours also. He had a busy weekend. He was in Seattle and Los Angeles and New York. He took the bye. Everybody rested. Warren flew around the country.
I would argue that the most famous Houston native might be Warren Moon, not George Bush at this point of the season, at least during the football season, huh?
I would have a tendency to agree until the debate tonight, of course.
That's right. Good point.
And here is the draw, Lorenzo White. Darrell Williams makes the tackle.
What happens in the secondary is when you have defensive backs that turn their backs, and he's upset with himself. The line opened a tremendous hole for him, and that is a quality offensive line. A lot of times in the front line in the first 5 guys, you put together a couple of guys, some trades, maybe some guy that didn't work out at another position. Take a look here on the right of the screen, the pick. Every one of the offensive linemen for the Houston Oilers either a 1st or 2nd round pick. And of course, they've done an outstanding job of protecting Warren Moon and opening the holes for Lorenzo White.
Flannery, of course, has replaced Munchak, and Flannery was a number 2 draft choice in '91. He's at left guard.
So the depth is just amazing. It really is.
Moon right side to White, and Lorenzo has it about the 48-yard line. Gain of 4 is going to be second down and 6. Bennett and Francis on the tackle.
Contrast that, just to contrast that a little bit. Last week, Charlie, when we were in Denver, arguably the most important position on the offensive line is that left tackle. And the Denver Broncos, because of drafts or whatever else, were forced to play a rookie free agent at left tackle. You know, and it just so happens that the left tackle for the Houston Oilers happens to be a first-round pick.
And we were correct on our report on Mike Munchak. The back spasms bothering him again just before the ball game. Flannery came in and replaced him last week in the game, 2 weeks ago in the game. They had the off week last week, and Flannery starts for him today. And it is second down and 6. Pressure from the right side. Pass is complete to Harris, and Leonard turns and picks up the first down at the Cincinnati 43-yard line. Ricky Dixon making the tackle.
Well, Leonard Harris is the man who replaced Drew Hill. And, of course, Drew Hill had been a favorite of the Houston Oilers for a number of years. He was the go-to man in that Oiler offense for Warren Moon. You can see there, look at the average per catch for Leonard Harris, less than 10 yards. I really think that certainly influenced the signing of Webster Slaughter.
But you also know that Leonard's saying, throw it to me now before Webster gets in there today.
That's right. They know at a certain point that he's going to have to sit down. They didn't spend $1.2 million to have the guy ride the bench.
White, and there's absolutely nothing there. It'll be a loss of a couple of yards to the 45. It'll be second down and 12. Daniel Stubbs, a linebacker in this set, is the defensive right tackle, and he is the man who makes the play.
Former defensive end for both the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. He just flat out guesses right here. Knocks down the pulling guard, gets in on Lorenzo White, stops the play before it even gets started.
Second and 12. Houston in front 3-0 with 4:45 left to go. We're in the first quarter. Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. And here is White on the draw. Catch back. Flag is down. White goes to the 41-yard line. That's a gain of 4. Mike Fryer with the tackle. It'll be holding against the Oilers.
Charlie, here we've been talking about John Flannery and replacing Mike Munchak. He just couldn't handle James Francis legally that time, so he did it illegally, and the umpire was right on top of it.
Holding, 78, offense. Still second down.
Well, now that's interesting because Flannery jumped right up and nodded his head. I guess it was more than one. That's Don Maggs, left tackle. I said first-round pick. Maggs was a second-round pick. Take a look at the left tackle, left side of your screen. Drop play. Has a hold right there. The man can't get out of the grasp. It's the left arm that he sees. And as soon as that defensive end cannot get his right arm out, in this case, Alonzo Mitz, the flag comes flying.
Second down and 22. Four-man rush. Moon goes deep, has the first down. He gets it all back as it goes to Curtis Duncan inside the Cincinnati 30-yard line.
That was absolutely a fabulous throw. He threw that at least a second and a half before Curtis Duncan turned around. Curtis Duncan appears to be running an up route. Take a look at the top of your screen. It looks like he's going up, and so for all intents and purposes, he turns, he's going to run with it. The ball's thrown now. The ball's already been thrown, and he turns around right on the numbers. What a throw by Warren Moon.
And the ball just outside the Bengal 28-yard line.
In talking with Curtis Duncan yesterday, he told me it's just a matter of working hard. I asked him that, you know, in the past, he'd been the least known of the Fab Four, but this year, that's his 26th catch of the season, and he's really come through in some clutch situations for the Oilers.
Gibbons the motion man. Back to this side to Jeffries. And he'll be down at the 23-yard line. So that's good for 5. It'll be second down and 5. As Eric Thomas was there for Cincinnati. One of the problems that the Cincinnati Bengals face, and it's a problem that every team faces that goes against the Houston Oilers. Ron Lynn, the Bengals defensive coordinator, brought it up to us yesterday, and that is that the Oilers with this offense need to be successful only 33% of the time because they get such big chunks of yardage when they hit, just like Warren did on second and 22 a moment ago.
Well, one of the things that the defensive backs have been doing, and I don't know if that was by design, but they're playing far too far off the receivers. They're just giving up too much room in the middle of the field.
Here is White, and he is stopped.
And I'm glad, not that I'm glad to see this particular player, this particular stuff, but I'm glad to see the guy that was in on the tackle. Number 33, David Fulcher. This man had been out. He'd been on injured reserve the last couple of weeks with viral meningitis. Interesting point here with regards to David Fulcher. He came to training camp. Ron Lynn, new defensive coordinator. He weighed 252, and he says, well, you got a choice. You can either lose 25 pounds and play your position, or you can gain 10 pounds and back up Tim Crumry.
That's right. And David immediately went on a diet.
Yep, that's right.
And he is now down to 238.
A svelte.
Yes, svelte 238. They're down in 5. Boom sets. He's got the first down. Looked as if he wanted to slide at about the 10 and said, no, I'll pick up one more and going out of bounds.
Right there, I guarantee you, Kevin Gilbride, offensive coordinator for the Houston Oilers, said, get out of bounds. What are you doing? Watch here at the end. Great protection by the Houston Oilers front line, that quality front line. Look at all the time that Warren has. Yeah, okay, he's 36 years of age. I'm 36. That's not too bad. And look at that. He's running just like Ernest Gibbons imitated.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, right here, get out of bounds. What are you doing? Oh, that's nuts.
Alfred Williams and Rod Jones bring him down.
Well, he took a shot on that right shoulder. He didn't have to. Notice he's taking a little bit more time there in the huddle to regroup, too.
6 carries, 25 yards on the year. He has completed 6 of 7 for 60 yards through the air in this ball game. And it is a touchdown to Haywood Jeffries.
This is a timing pattern that was originally done, made popular by Terry Bradshaw and Lynn Swan. For all intents and purposes, the defensive back, it looks like an up route. Right there, he guns it, and he just turns around and stops. Actually, Eric Thomas has pretty good coverage, but there's nothing he can do. He thinks it's an up route. Moon knows it. They've run that play a million times. That's awfully tough to cover man for man. Bradshaw made that popular with Stallworth.
And for Jeffries, that is his 3rd touchdown of the year. And the first touchdown of our ball game today. And the extra point attempt by Al Del Greco. And it is good. And the Oilers move in front of Cincinnati by a score of 10-0 with 1:09 left to go in the first quarter. And don't forget that earlier today, Cleveland upset Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was going to say, Charlie, Cower Power, you and I are fortunate enough to broadcast the first 3 games of that, and I mean, they had really turned Pittsburgh on its ear, but maybe a little reality is hitting here in terms of the fact that they're going to have to do, you know, can't just ride your laurels. You know, got to play the game and give Cleveland credit. Back to 2-3 now.
Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL football action beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. Then many of you to see the NFC's top rusher in action, Emmitt Smith, the Dallas Cowboys. They take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Others to see a battle between 2 of the best quarterbacks, and we'll be there for that one in the Mile High Stadium. Warren Moon and John Elway. The Oilers and the Broncos, so check your local listings. Hope you get a chance to see our ball game. I'm looking forward to going back because Elway did it again.
Okay, and I was just going to say, do us a favor, those of you that are going to tune into that Houston-Denver game. Charlie and I would love to have you, but don't just tune in for the last 2 minutes. Tune in for the whole thing, okay?
That's right.
Because the way those 2 teams play, it always seems to come down to that.
Oh, yes. Back to the replay of Drive 2 in the divisional playoff game of a year ago. Stiegel on the return to the 15-yard line where Gary Brown makes the tackle, and Cincinnati will go to work.
I think Cincinnati definitely has to do something with this drive. The 3-and-punt scenario is not working. And even with just a minute left in the first quarter, Cincinnati's got to get something going offensively.
Dave Shula, the young head coach of Cincinnati. How young is he? Well, we'll show you in just a moment where, in reality, he started his coaching career as a teenager. Now that we've whet your appetite, I know that you're waiting for the reveal of that story. Pickens is in motion. Esiason to throw. The left-hander fires. The pass is complete to Eric Ball. It's going to be good for a couple of yards to the 17-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Robinson was there.
And who is this floppy-haired youngster?
charting the play.
That's right. In the orange shirt, you can see David Shula right next to his father. Very early on. And minus the hat, you can see that the hairline has receded somewhat, but the genetic endowments that he received from his father in terms of facial features, they're unmistakable.
Here's Harold Green. Green to the 24-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Marcus Robertson and Steve Jackson make the tackle.
Well, while we've been singing the praises of Lorenzo White, this man, too, has been doing an outstanding job. 90 yards per game rushing for Harold Green. He has really turned into the star they anticipated he might be.
3rd and 1 and trying to get the play off very quickly and surprise the Oiler defense. It is intercepted. Dishman was not fooled.
Well, they're trying to get in a hurry. They're trying to confuse people, and he has him wide open, but he overthrows him. Take a look at Dishman. Gets his hands on it just before he gets out of bounds. Turnover for the Oilers as we begin the 2nd quarter.
There was a flag on the play. So even though time has expired in the 1st period, we will wait to see what the call is.
Well, the flag was completely on the other side of the field. And that would appear...
I suspect that Cincinnati was not set.
Well, it could be the fact that they, in such a hurry, I think Boomer tried to catch 12 men on the field. And once again, we're guessing.
You have a feeling they are too?
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. A somewhat prolonged caucus. You can hear the screaming of substitute there on the sidelines.
Defense. Cincinnati will retain the ball with a 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
This is the very thing that Jim Eddy talked about, complaining that they would go with 12 people in the huddle and have one guy come out, and as a result, Houston would have too many people on the field. They felt that that was gamesmanship and very unfair.
Getting caught in that situation substitution. Into the quarter. Houston leads. Back in a moment. Jim Eddy, defensive coordinator of Houston, the hurry up or the sugar offense, the action huddle that the Bengals use. He is against it from the standpoint he thinks that is not the game of football, because he feels that Cincinnati is trying to trick you into your substitutions by bringing out 12 men running one off and not giving you time to make the substitution. He said sometimes he won't even bother with the substitutions when he plays Cincinnati in the 1st quarter, because he wants everybody to kind of settle down. Also, he says, I want the officials to figure out what's going on too.
He definitely has legitimate beef there, because that is an unfair advantage, but it's like it's right on that border. It's that line between what's ethical and what's moral. And so when they have 12 people out there and they sprint one off, yeah, that alters what's happening defensively.
Now what they're talking about is where the ball should be placed after the 5-yard penalty. Now the line of scrimmage was the 24-yard line. It was 3rd down and 1. Therefore the 5-yard penalty should be at the 29-yard line. They have spotted it at the 28-yard line. One time they had it up at the 32-yard line. Total offense in the 1st quarter. Look at this.
Well, that's not surprising. Cincinnati had 2 series. They went 3 and punt. And Houston, as you mentioned, Warren Moon has what, 1 incompletion. Lorenzo White running well.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise at all. Score indicates it too.
Cincinnati has 1 first down, and they just got it by penalty. Now they set it at the 28-yard line. So they're in reality marking off a 4-yard penalty.
Let's play. Okay, I got that on my system.
Okay.
All right, I won't do that again.
Thompson, the tight end, in motion. Boomer rolls out. He's a left-handed thrower. Fires on the run. And they're going to rule the pass complete to Rodney Holman.
Well, I don't know what Marcus Robertson is complaining about. Everybody in the stands and everybody on the sideline saw that he jumped on the back of the receiver long before the ball got there. So it's going to be a moot point. They'll take the completion. It'll be a 1st down.
Pass interference. Defense. 1st down.
Got to remember that if you're a youngster, you got to pick your spots if you're going to complain to the official. Watch at the top of the screen. Watch Marcus Robertson jump on the back here long before the ball gets there. And since Holman didn't come up with the ball, it appeared from a vantage point he did. But they certainly are going to take the penalty and a first down for the Bengals.
At their own 42-yard line. And their second first down in the ball game. And here's Harold Green. There's not a lot there.
Now we have 2 first downs, both penalty induced.
Lamar Lathan and Lee Williams making the tackle.
Lee Williams for the longest time said, I want to play left end. I want to play left end. And I said, wait a minute. I said, William Fuller, 15 sacks. You know, AFC Pro Bowler. What's the problem? He says, I still want to play left end. I said, come on, Lee. Lighten up. But he does a good job wherever they line him up.
Houston out in front by a score of 10-0, and Harold Green is cut down for a loss. Bubba McDowell.
You know, David Fulcher, we were talking earlier, has made it in vogue, so to speak, to be a large defensive safety. That man right there is only 6 foot tall, 198 pounds, but he reminds me a little bit about the joke of the tall guy that got beat up by the short guy. And his friend said to him, he says, what's the problem? He only came up to your chin. And he said, yeah, but he came up too often. Yes. That's exactly Bubba McDowell. I mean, he comes up and he comes up often.
3rd down and 11. The ball now back at the 41-yard line. Esiason from the shotgun. And a sidearms it. It is tipped and then intercepted. Marcus Robertson has the interception, and he goes out of bounds. And we're checking for flags.
There's a late flag right there at the 45-yard line.
At the 45.
It looked like possibly Steve Jackson could have put his arm on the receiver early. I don't know what the thinking is here.
Pass interference.
Yep.
85 offense. It's declined.
It is on Tim McGee of Cincinnati. The interception stands.
Take a look at Steve Jackson in the middle of the field. Going to stay with him all the way. 85. Now watch as the ball comes. See, he pushes off to get the ball. That's a little bit ticky-tack on the part of the official. That's a non-call. Just let that go. But the tip drill, this is why defensive backs do that. And Marcus Robertson, the man who's been replacing the injured Bo Orlando, comes up with the tip.
Steve Jackson is the defender who tipped the ball for the Oilers. And they now have a first down at the Cincinnati 33-yard line.
And as we mentioned with regards to a prolonged slump, Boomer escaped it earlier with the interception down here. Now what happens when you're in a slump? It comes back, tip ball, another interception.
Now, do you go to the end zone immediately?
No. You run a drop play. How's that for hedging my bet?
Lorenzo White, yes.
Kind of like in The Sting, you know, when they had the tape of the horse races 2 minutes later.
Rod Jones and Ricky Dixon on the tackle. And the ball at the 28-yard line.
Already, look at what the line's doing for Lorenzo White. That's not, I'm sorry, I don't mean it to sound like that, but the offensive line is doing an outstanding job opening the holes. Lorenzo White seems to be running a lot in space. Seems like he's able to get the 2- and 3-yard head start without having a nose guard or anybody else in his face, which is a tribute to the interior of the Oilers.
2nd down and 5, the ball at the 28-yard line. And a straight shot for Lorenzo White, and he just keeps going to the 16-yard line, maybe the 15, where Darrell Williams finally brings him down.
Lorenzo White, one of the things he talked about was the power in his legs that he had been working out in the offseason, really trying to get his legs stronger. Watch at the point of attack. Bruce Matthews does a great job. Oh, look at that hole. Look at that hole. Now watch the tackles he runs through. First Ricky Dixon on the side, then Francis, and finally at the end, Williams has to catch him by the neck. You're absolutely right. When you get a 5-yard running head start like that, that's tough on those defensive backs.
And that's Flannery, Matthews, and Dawson, the 2 guards in the center for the Oilers. First down, 16-yard line of Cincinnati. We're moving on the 12-minute mark, time remaining in the first half. Pass is complete to Leonard Harris, and he is dropped in his tracks by Rod Jones.
Now, far be it for me to second guess. Of course, it's kind of like 007, license to kill. It's always the broadcaster's license to second guess. I mean, they just handed the ball twice to Lorenzo White. The guys, they're just mowing him down in the middle of the field. Why even bother? Throwing out a flat pass for a 2-yard gain.
Well, let him catch his breath.
The one thing when I
was
playing with the Raiders, I remember Kenny Stabler. They used to have this one play to Mark Van Eeken. And if the thing got 4 yards, guarantee it went again. Just kept going and going with the same thing.
Pat Coleman has come into that offensive set as a wide receiver. Harris has come out. And it's 2nd down and 8.
You have to see Webster Slaughter in the game.
Still looking for him.
Oh, nice balance.
And that is Coleman, who just came in with the reception. Rod Jones with the tackle.
Take a look at the set right here. Givens cuts inside. Coleman just outside. Givens, in effect, runs the man off, and Jones has to cut across. Now, what's the balance here at the end by Coleman? It's a nice job there. Bouncing up. Coming within 1 yard of the first down. I would look for number 44 here, wouldn't you?
Warren Moon has completed 9 of 10 for 77 yards.
Yeah, take a look at Webster Slaughter. They're in the green zone. He wants to get in. Hey, Coach, I better get a touchdown for you if you put me in.
Slaughter is number 89. Moon now picks up the first down. It'll be 1st down and goal to go. The ball at about the 3-yard line. Ricky Dixon was there for Cincinnati.
Now, that is some domination on the part of the offensive line when you can get nearly 3 yards on a quarterback sneak. I mean, he actually stepped back from the line and ran over the left guard. John Flannery coming in here doing an excellent job in place of Mike Munchak.
1st down, goal to go, 2-yard line. Leonard Harris comes back in. Matt Coleman comes out. And Webster Slaughter awaits his debut. 1st down, goal to go. Timing pattern in the corner, and Jeffries got held up, and it'll be 2nd down.
Good job by Eric Thomas. That initial chuck of the line of scrimmage just completely took him out. Watch number 22, bang, right in the chest. That's good coverage there by Eric Thomas. And if he'd have backpedaled just one more step, he might have been able to get the interception. Good job by number 22.
And David Bolter checks into the secondary for Cincinnati. 2nd down, goal to go.
One of the problems with the run and shoot is inside the 20-yard line. That's what everybody talks about. When they get in close like that, they still have the 4 wides out there. They have a difficulty punching it in.
We give it to Lorenzo White right at the middle. That's been working all day. That's also been working. Ernest Gibbons.
There's the electric slide by number 81. Got to be feeling a little bit better about himself, having made some key catches. This is the exact same play to the other side that worked to Coleman. Cutting up the field, he cuts behind the wide receiver, who in effect runs off his man. And number 32, Mitchell Price, could not stay with Ernest Gibbons. And that man continues to thread the needle. Only 1 incompletion thus far.
Del Greco to attempt the extra point. And the score, the Houston Oilers 17, the Cincinnati Bengals nothing. We have 9 minutes and 36 seconds left in the first half. It is Houston 17, Cincinnati nothing. Webster Slaughter still is not in the ball game, but however, Todd, I have a feeling that if it continues in this vein, that Webster could see a lot of action.
Well, I guarantee you what it is. If Webster had been with the team a little bit longer, at that point, sometime in the drive, he would have come up and go, Kevin, let me in the game. Come on, Kevin. Come on, Kevin, let me in the game.
I think he was doing it anyway.
Yeah, but see, because of the fact that he hasn't been there long enough, hasn't quite had the relationships with these people, but he is jumping around, and you're right. I would anticipate that maybe even next series, we could see a little bit of number 89. Impressive numbers over his 6 years with the Cleveland Browns. He told me something interesting yesterday, Charlie. He said he actually wanted to stay in Cleveland because he wanted a shot at being the Browns' all-time receiver.
And here is Milt Stegall on the kickoff return for Cincinnati. And he is dropped by Corey Harris.
What he didn't mention, however, and I was, shall I say, diplomatic enough not to mention it, is the 662 passes by Ozzie Newsome. He would have to play a long time to catch up to that since his numbers are only 308. But I let it go.
Cincinnati has been completely stifled in the first half with 9:27 left to go. Trailing 17-0. Darrell Green.
Oh, Sean Jones in on the tackle. Sean Jones, very animated conversation we had with him yesterday. He has that reputation for being this militant leader, a guy that held out, a guy that retired and this and that. He had an interesting statistic that he put on us with regards to his Pro Bowls about just missing.
And he said that he has been the alternate to the Pro Bowl 4 times. Darrell Green carries again.
And I liken that to being
second runner-up to Miss America.
Exactly. It's like being miscongeniality or misphotogenic. You know, it's not quite getting to the dance. But he is vital to the success of the defensive line of the Houston Oilers. Traded for a first-round pick from the Los Angeles Raiders after the 1987 season. He's done an outstanding job, as you say, just missing the Pro Bowl.
And he also said the white jerseys and blue pants are tighter.
What was
than
that?
The other.
What was he talking about? I asked him about the problems they had on the road, and he made the excuse. He used the uniforms as an excuse.
No, these uniforms are tighter than the home uniforms.
Yeah.
Third down, passes drop. Eric Ball, the intended receiver.
And there's Sean Jones along with William Fuller and Lee Williams in the midst of it. Take a look at the difficulties. Number 7 has Sean Jones going against one of the all-time greats, and Anthony Munoz cuts inside right there around the legs. Look at Boomer ducking away. Well, that's some kind of pass rush they put on. That's the reason why the Houston Oilers don't have to blitz. If they get that kind of pressure, they can keep people in coverage.
Lee Johnson will be kicking. Pat Coleman is the return man for Houston. Here comes pressure, gets it off. Coleman takes it at the 35. He's to the 40, the 45, the 50. Eric Ball with an assist from an Oiler stopped him. What a pretty good return. We'll be back in a moment. Houston leads 17-0.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By McDonald's, home of the new McDonald's guarantee. By Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it. And by Castrol Syntec, the new synthetic oil that protects in ways other oils can't.
With just over 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter, Houston leading Cincinnati by a score of 17-0, and the Oilers have the ball just inside the Bengal 49-yard line.
And there's Slaughter in motion. He's in the game, number 89.
So Webster Slaughter makes his first appearance in the ballgame. Lorenzo White, a straight shot up the middle, and he's got the first down as he picks up about 12 yards on the play.
I think he looked good going in motion, don't you? There's number 89 patting Lorenzo on the head. You know what? He's obviously he's a very good player. They wouldn't have spent the money to get him. But you know what? It really is tough to go into another organization, you know, as a $1 million guy, the adjustments that everybody has to make. But you know, when I talked to a number of players, I said, you know, are you jealous of this guy? Is this causing a problem? They said, absolutely not. I said, what we're pleased about is the fact that Mr. Adams went out and spent the money on this guy, and that can only benefit us down the line.
And the Oilers have made that commitment. Flags are down, whistle sound, as they now have put all of the pieces possible together for their run at the Super Bowl. And that's what it's all about.
Interesting point with regards to Webster Slaughter.
78, offense. Still first down.
From Don Max.
Both Jack Pardee and Warren Moon, when I talked with them yesterday, said that this man right here, number 89, has the best hands on the team. And you know what else I like about that? What do you think I like about that with regards to Slaughter?
He is not wearing tack-a-pie gloves.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As they say, he catches them in the raw.
First down and 15. And here's Lorenzo White. Let's go back to Slaughter not wearing tack-a-pie gloves. You did not wear gloves. Is there really a difference?
Well,
and if so, what is that difference?
Well, of course, the tackle-by gloves replace stick-'em. They do give you a little bit of a stick to the ball. But a lot of players, remember we had a game earlier with Green Bay, and Terrell Buckley said he liked the feel of the leather in his hands. It reminded me a little bit, you baseball fans watch George Brett. He also doesn't wear batting gloves because he likes the feel of the wood close to his hands. When I was playing, I was like Slaughter. That quarter of an inch or half an inch, whatever it was, between the hand and the ball, I didn't like. I wanted that tactile feeling. I wanted that. I wanted the ball close to my hands.
2nd down and 6. Moon to throw. Has all the time in the world. He cocked about 3 times, and then he completes a pass to Haywood Jeffries.
Now, the reason he cocked so many times is because I'm not sure the Webster Slaughter ran the right route. He went in motion. He was supposed to cut across on the in. Take a look at number 89 here on the replay. Comes across, and Warren Moon is looking at him all the way. Coming across the middle. Oh, he's open there. Come on. Oh, all right. Watch Warren double clutch here. I mean, he's looking at Slaughter. Here he's going to come across. No, changes. Well, okay. I'll come back to Haywood. What a great arm he has, too. Do you see that? Just sitting on the one hand, he just flicks the ball in there.
1st down, 20-yard line. Lorenzo White, the ball carrier again. Back, one more statement on the tackle-by gloves. When you bring up gloves, you mentioned the batting gloves that baseball players use. Several golfers do not wear gloves for that same feeling. Several golfers do wear gloves because they endorse them.
I don't know.
That's the reality.
I don't know. You know what? The only endorsement I can think of is the gloves that Dan Marino endorses in that commercial. Right. And nobody wears those out on a football field.
But all of his friends do.
Well, darn it. You know what? I wish we were wired to Warren right now. We want to throw him the ball and see him catch it barehanded. Come on, look for Slaughter here, Warren.
2nd down and 4. 4.5 minutes left to go, 1st half. Little timing pattern in the corner. Curtis Duncan diving for it, couldn't get there. Antoine Bennett had good coverage on it. It'll be 3rd down. And what we saw a moment ago with Slaughter brings up exactly why quarterbacks and receivers have to work together on a timing and a confidence situation so that the quarterback always knows where Slaughter is or where the receiver is, and he knows that everybody is making the same reads, particularly in this offense, because in reality, each receiver makes his own read.
It's interesting that you'd say that, because every time he has come back to the huddle now, Ernest Gibbons has said something to him, Don Magg said something to him, Jeffries said something to him. They're doing the best to try to incorporate him into the offense and have him feel comfortable, and it's obvious right now he's a little unsure of himself.
And we have flags down. End zone. The reception is there for the touchdown. And we believe that the flag will be against Cincinnati.
It's a heads-up play by Warren Moon. The tendency is just to stand still, but he knew he had a free play, so he followed it through.
Jeffries with the reception. If it stands, it will be his 2nd touchdown.
79, defense is declined. Touchdown good.
You know, so many times we'll say he has a free play. Well, he has a free play with the penalty, and he cashes in on it.
I think there's a lot of savvy, not only on the part of Warren Moon, but on John Flannery, a guy that hasn't been playing much. Normally, when a guy jumps off like that, you think he might have raised up and caused motion, but he didn't. Very disciplined. Very disciplined on the part of John Flannery to stand in there.
That makes it 23-0, and here's the extra point, and it is good. So Houston is out in front of Cincinnati 24-0 with 4:25 left to go. We're in the 2nd quarter. For Haywood Jeffries, that is his 5th reception of the ball game. So that means in his last 21 consecutive games, he has at least 4 or more receptions. His 2nd touchdown. First time in his career he's had 2 touchdowns in one ball game.
That's amazing. For a guy that caught 100 balls last year, you would have thought that would have happened a long time ago.
And here is Eric Ball on the return. He breaks it up the sideline. Nice return. and one of the few bright spots for the Bengals thus far. Al Del Greco, the man who kicked off, was the man lurking there along the sideline and waiting for us.
Strange phenomenon here is the key to this play really is the discipline of the left guard and left tackle. Take a look at John Flannery and Don Maggs a little bit later. Watch. Now, normally a guard rises right up, but he stood right with. In fact, look at Maggs. He wanted to stay with it to make absolutely sure that they didn't jump and have offsetting penalties. The discipline by the left side of the offensive line helped the Houston Oilers get that score.
Cincinnati from their own 41-yard line. Pressure from the backside, and the pass is incomplete. McGee, the intended receiver. And Lamar Lathan had the pressure for the Oilers.
Not only is he having problems, this is no fun. Take a look at it as he gets whacked. Here comes Lee Williams from the one side. Here comes Lamar Lathan. Bang. Now that they're down 24-zip, they know they're going to have to throw the ball, and that gives the Houston Oilers defensive line a chance to tee off and pin their ears back and not even bother with the run.
And Boomer has completed only 2 of 7 for 6 yards through the air. Second down and 10. And here is Harold Green, and there's nothing there. And it'll be third down and 10. As Lathan was waiting for it.
Big surprise there, Charlie, in Los Angeles. The Raiders, coming off their first victory of the year, somewhat tainted 13-10 count over the Giants, are really putting it to the Bills. Tainted, I said.
Why tainted?
Well, tainted because of the fact that at the end of the first half, when they on the 1 yard line, they kicked the field goal. They could have gone up 14-0. The Giants, that is. Then they disappeared in the second half. You know, they won it on a 54-yard field goal.
A victory's a victory. Hey. Here is Pickens. He's to the 40. He can break it down the sideline and then out of bounds. 21-yard line. But quickly back to your Raider thought. I didn't want to take you out of that.
No, that's fine. I was just saying that they're up 17-3 over the Bills at this point. I think really a big surprise with the Bills coming off that loss against the Dolphins. I'd have thought that, you know, they're going to boom. We're going to come back and play hard. This is what we mentioned that Dave Schuler really wanted to get the ball in the hands of that man, number 80, Carl Pickens. Lets the receiver get in front of him, just hesitates. Now Dishman's too far off. Look at where Dishman is. That's just, you can't give him that much room. And Dishman knows that now, but it's a little bit too late. Pickens showing a lot of speed for a guy 6'2", 205, 210. Getting down to the 21-yard line.
38 yards on the play. That is Boomer's longest completion of the season. At the 21-yard line of Houston. And he throws it. He's out at the 1-yard line by McGee. He thinks he went in untouched.
Now the side judge is going to come in and say that is a touchdown, because when he touched him, he said he was up in the air. So they're going to call it 6.
There is no instant replay this year.
I think
Dave Shula is helping the official.
I think it's a good call by the official coming in. What Chris Dishman does, watch Dishman at the end of the play. He comes over to touch him, but that's as McGee is getting up. Inside blitz, man-for-man coverage. What a catch here by McGee, laying out with the catch. Now watch Dishman. Is he down? Watch, he's getting up right there. His feet are up.
His knees are off the ground.
His knees are off the ground. Good call by the official. Not a good play there by Chris Dishman. Back-to-back bad coverages for number 28.
And Jim Breach with the extra point, and it is good. And so suddenly the Bengals are back in the ball game, 24-7, matching Boomer's jersey number as he celebrates.
An old coach of mine once said that there are no atheists and foxholes are on the football field. And there's Boomer saying to whatever deity he cares to, thank you for at least getting him in the end zone this one time.
Lee Johnson kicking off. Spencer Tillman from a yard deep. A fumble, and Cincinnati has the ball. The tide is turning to the tall stacks of Cincinnati. Eric Ball.
It's interesting to me, Charlie, that we mentioned at the beginning, why not take the 22 free yards? Now look at the way he's carrying the ball right there. Ball comes loose right there. No doubt about it. He was definitely still running. Spencer Tillman definitely right there should have kneeled down. Take a look at him running at you. Carrying the ball a la Walter Payton with just the one hand loose. Bang. Big hit there.
Ricky Dixon with the hit.
That was right on the ball.
Cincinnati with the ball at the Houston 16-yard line. Boomer end zone incomplete. He was going to McGee.
I don't know if that made up for the last two plays, but Chris Dishman there taking the bows. That was excellent coverage. Gimetti told us something interesting yesterday, Charlie, with regards to the Houston Oilers. And this is typical of the situation. He said that he didn't want his defensive players scoreboard watching. And I think that last drive was indicative of it. Hey, it's 24-0. It's the middle of the second quarter. Big deal. We'll ease up a little bit. He doesn't like that. He wants those people to be intense about what their business is. Don't worry about the score. You take care of business.
Here's Eric Ball. He slips the tackle down the sideline, out of bounds, stops the clock. 2:24 left to go. Another thing that Gimetti told us, the fact that the hurry-up offense of Cincinnati, it means that Houston defensively does not go back to their huddle. He said that keeps us from drawing off of the strengths of our defensive leaders by spreading everybody out on the defense and hollering to each other.
Absolutely. The communication becomes a problem. But what has to happen for Cincinnati here is the crowd has to get into it so that they can't communicate. For the first quarter and a half, this hasn't exactly been a raucous group.
Well, they didn't have any reason to be raucous.
I agree.
They're down in 6. Incomplete. Pickens intended receiver.
Once again,
Dishman. Are they picking on Dishman?
No, they're not picking on Dishman. That's a good play by Chris Dishman there. It may have looked like that he should have made the catch. Number 28, nice in front of Pickens to make the play.
What did Dishman tell us yesterday? Hey, they get paid too. 2 minutes to go. Houston leads 24-7. Cincinnati with a field goal attempt.
Jimmy Breach, a former teammate of mine in 1979 with the Raiders. He was cut, went to Cincinnati, and from the time he's been with Cincinnati, that first game in 1980 to now, he has set this record, 186 consecutive games scoring. Really is amazing. Broke the old record held by Fred Cox, former kicker of the Minnesota Vikings.
And a 29-yard field goal attempt is true to the mark.
Jimmy Breach, 5'6", about 170, 180 pounds.
And so in the last minute of play, Cincinnati is pulled within 2 touchdowns of the Oilers, and it looked for a moment as if Houston was simply going to blow them away. Be sure to be with us at halftime for the Domino Pizza's NFL Live halftime report with Bob Costas, scores and highlights all around the league.
I'll be interested to see here, Charlie, in the 2-minute offense if Webster Slaughter is still in the game, because of the minute 56 left and the way their offense has run roughshod over the Bengals. I don't think that they're just going to run out the clock. Do you?
And let's take, I don't think so. Let's take a look at the 10-minute ticker. Indianapolis by 3 over the Jets at the halftime. Here the score is Houston 24 and Cincinnati 10. And of course, those of you who may have tuned in a bit late or missed one of the tickers is that Kansas City defeated the Eagles today at Arrowhead Stadium. And also the Dolphins came from behind who defeated Atlanta. So it has been a good afternoon in interconference play for the AFC team.
All right, let me pose this one to you. 20-year anniversary of the perfect team for the Miami Dolphins. Do they have any chance of going 16-0?
No.
Okay.
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 I don't think anybody can go 16-0 for the competition that you have in the NFL today.
I would agree.
And here is Lee Johnson with the kickoff. Oh, he hangs this one up. And Corey Harris on the return, slips the tackle, and is dropped to the 20-yard line. Fernandez Benson is the man who made the tackle, and now we'll have a pushing and shoving contest. There's been bad blood between these two teams for many years, but really, with Jack Pardee and Dave Shula, the head coach, everything had kind of quieted down. In fact, there was an article in the local paper, in fact, that there wasn't anybody to get mad at anymore since Jerry Glanville left. But apparently some of the players still remember. Here's a program note. 16 of tennis's greatest legends will be in action next Saturday at the Jeep Eagle ATP Senior Tour Championship. Borg, Laver, Nastase, Smith are just some of the entries. It's tennis like it used to be. That's all next Saturday here on NBC.
Well, as mentioned, I asked the question not so idly, considering the fact they still had a shot at it. And sure enough, there's Webster Slaughter still in the game, number 89.
Houston from their own 20-yard line, first down. A minute 50 time remaining. Lorenzo White, and he'll pick up the first down. They're going to spot the ball at the 30-yard line. Darrell Williams with the tackle. No, they're going to mark it just shy of the first down, but they have moved the chains.
They just haven't been able to stop that all day. They continue to be able to run right up the gut.
Warren is hit, and it is intercepted. Rod Jones, Cincinnati has the ball. 1:18 left to go in the half. And it was Alfred Williams who put the pressure on Warren Moon. That is only the second interception of the year for Cincinnati.
I'm sorry, I must have been nodding off. This is a totally different game that I've seen as what happened in about the first 25 minutes. Alfred Williams, the leader of the Cincinnati Bengals in sacks, gets by the block, and as soon as he hits Warren, that means a pop-up, and give Rod Jones credit. He was at the right place at the right time. Big turnover for the Bengals.
And the ball at the Houston 37-yard line. Houston 37, Cincinnati with the ball. Minute 18 left to go. Pickens is in motion. Boomer waits, shoves it underneath. It's dropped by Pickens. If he could have held on, it would have been 6. There was nobody there to pick him up.
He was gone. You're absolutely right. Al Smith was trailing him, and there's just no way. Al Smith is certainly an excellent middle linebacker, but there's no way he catches Carl Pickens if he can hold on. Sean Jones in on the rush, was right at the feet of Boomer Esiason, but he couldn't pull him down, and Boomer was able to get the ball off.
Boomer now 5 of 13, 69 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Boomer to throw, has pressure, loses the ball. Cincinnati recovers it. It is Harold Green who makes the recovery. Childress jarred it loose, and if you look at the replay, the defensive line of Houston just shoved the offensive line of the Bengals back.
Ray Childress with the rush, and Ray Childress has been doing it all season thus far for the Houston Oilers.
So spot the ball back at the 43-yard line. It'll be a loss of 6. It's going to be 3rd down and 16.
That man has been doing it all season. Now take a look at what Jack Purdy had to say about him. I don't know how a defensive tackle could play any better. I've seen a lot of defensive linemen in my day, and I've never seen anyone better than Ray. That is extremely high praise coming from a man who played with the fearsome foursome in the Los Angeles Rams, and his defensive line coach, Jim Stanley. I mean, talk about a heretic statement, said that he believes that man is better than Bob Lilly.
And to be the leading tackler and a defensive tackle, not a defensive end, but a tackle, that alone is an unbelievable statistic.
When we asked Sean Jones about what it was that made him so good, he says he has a motor that absolutely does not stop. And this man right here is not one for idle praise. So when he says something, he means it. Ray Childress, what a football player.
Gary Kinner in that offensive set. Boomer pump fake. Throws far side. Tiptoeing down the sideline is the sure-handed Brian Brennan. He has the first down, 25-yard line. Stops the clock with 49 seconds. That was 3rd and 16, and here come the Bengals.
Well, this is awful coverage by Darrell Lewis. There's no way you have to look in the backfield when you have 3rd and so long. Get to your position and play it. Instead, Darrell Lewis looked in the backfield. Boomer was able to throw it out to the flat where Brennan was, and Lewis wasn't on him.
First down at the Houston 25-yard line. Boomer in the corner. It is incomplete to Brennan. couldn't quite make his break and get to the ball.
That was close. Brian Brennan, of course, you remember the last couple of years, great possession receiver for the Cleveland Browns. They let him go. Cincinnati picked him up right away. A man who is normally in the short and intermediate routes. They're on a corner route, had double coverage, and Boomer almost able to slide it in between the two defenders.
Steve Jackson and Marcus Robertson had the double coverage. Bring it back to the 25-yard line. It is second down and 10. 44 seconds.
Once again, a no-nonsense guy. If you had that shot of Brian Brennan, no wristbands, no gloves, no nothing.
Just tap. Tipped. Incomplete. It'll be third down.
Lamar Lathan does a lot for the Houston Oilers. He rushes the passer. He's in coverage. In this case, he's somewhat of a spy for Munoz. Watch 57 right over the center. Now watch him follow Boomer's eyes. As soon as he steps up, watch 57 right there. Get the hand on the ball. Otherwise, that's a completion and a potential first down. Arguably the best athlete on the team. 6'3", 250 pounds, and they tied him in 4.55. Yikes.
Houston leading by 14, 24-10. Incomplete, almost intercepted. Flag was down. Query the intended receiver. Jerry Gray had the coverage.
That's a heads-up play by Jerry Gray. He read Boomer's mind. They'll certainly let that one go and make him kick the field goal on fourth down. But Jerry Gray, watch number 21. As soon as he audibles, he backpedals. He knows he's going to the up because they're coming with a blitz. Not biting on that fake at all. Look at number 21, Jerry Gray. He's not a four-time Pro Bowler for nothing. Little hand fighting. He almost makes the catch, can't quite come up with it.
And remember when they talked about Jerry Gray, all the players said how smart he is.
Offense. Too many men moving. It's decline. Fourth down.
So every time we're watching film, he's always pointing out a little something here, a little something there. He helps us all improve.
Well, that's exactly what he did right there. As soon as Boomer went to the audible, he knew that on his side he had the up, and he backpedaled. He was right there.
All right, Jim Breach, 1 for 1, 29 yards away in this ball game. He has now hit his last 5 in a row. This will be from the 33-yard line, an attempt of 43 yards. And he'll have to come back for him, and it doesn't. It stays out right. So Breach misses right from 43 yards away. The score remains Houston 24 and Cincinnati 10 with now 28 seconds left to go in the first half.
Jimmy Breach is not very happy about that. It's much like a golf swing. You can see with the hand they're making the motions. That would have given them some impetus heading into halftime, and I can almost guarantee that the Houston Oilers will be content to sit on the ball here and go into half with a 2-touchdown lead.
Dallas shut out Seattle by a score of 27-0 today. Kansas City defeated Philadelphia 24-7. And Lee Johnson will kick off to start the second half. And here is Corey Harris on the return. Just about the 18-yard line. And now, as promised, here are the Coors Cutter halftime statistics.
The number that stands out to me is the rushing yards of the Houston Oilers. Of course, the bulk of that, if not all of it, the only thing I can think is the one exception was about the 12-yard scramble by Warren Moon there. That 102 yards, 106 passing. That's an incredible balance that the Houston Oilers really never have. And, of course, the time of possession almost 2-1. And if you take away those 2 turnovers, then we have the blowout that you felt could come to pass.
So Houston starts from their own 18-yard line, first down. And they're going with Jeffries, Harris, Gibbons, and Duncan as the wide receivers. And here is Jeffries. He slips the tackle and has the first down, goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. He'll pick up 12. Ricky Dixon chasing him.
As Howard used to say, the angular one. 6'3", a little bit short of 200 pounds. Haywood Jeffries tough to bring down, all arms and legs. You know, it was funny. I was talking with one of the public relations people. No, excuse me, it was Spencer Tillman before the game. And he says, man, you look good enough to still play. And I said, well, you know what, if I could just play the Sundays, I would. And he says, well, then why don't you? That's all Haywood does.
First down, Houston, their own 30-yard line. Opening drive, second half, Oilers on top by 14. And here's Lorenzo White to the outside. He's going to pick up a couple to the 32. Alex Gordon was there to stop him.
Had a little more room than that. Lorenzo White should have cut up just a little bit earlier. Want to get too far to the outside. If he stays behind number 73, David Williams, he would have had a few more yards. But what's to argue? Take a look at those numbers right there. 84 yards already in just a little more than a half of work.
And we have a defensive report for the Oilers. Doug Smith, with that pulled hamstring in the first half, will not return in the second half. Second down and 8.
Safe to say that Lee Williams has been doing a fairly competent job in his absence.
Gibbons is in motion. Moon deep over the middle. Pass is complete inside the 45-yard line of Cincinnati. It is Leonard Harris with the reception and Ricky Dixon with the stop at the 41.
Well, Rod Jones came with a cornerback blitz and they picked it up. And of course, what that means is there's one less guy in the secondary, nobody in center field. Leonard Harris does a good job of reading the coverage, and as usual, number 1 puts it on the money.
And a pickup of 27 yards on the play. First down, Houston. And Lorenzo White just bowling over the Cincinnati Bengals. Rod Jones finally brings him down.
This is not what the Cincinnati Bengals had in mind coming out in the second half. They're looking more in terms of 3 and punt. Watch the offensive line just pushing people out of the way. Here comes Bruce Matthews downfield, shoving the middle backer out of the way, enabling Lorenzo White to get the extra yardage. Ricardo McDonald, rookie, second in the league in tackles. Number 56 was no match for Bruce Matthews on that play.
And the change come out for the measurement, and as they do, Leonard Harris comes out and Webster Slaughter comes into the offensive set for Houston. It'll be second down about a foot.
Well, Harris shook himself up a little bit on that catch down the middle. And so I think that if he was healthy, I think that, you know, the experiment here with Webster Slaughter when the score was 24-0, it was fine. We'll have a few laughs. But then when they got the 2 scores back, it was like, well, maybe we should start focusing. And then again, you know, this guy's not a rookie.
No, and but it does show that it's not an offense you're going to pick up overnight. And it does take a lot of work.
Well, when we interviewed him, he said that he had a number of offensive coordinators at the Cleveland Browns, 5. And he said, without a doubt, this is the most difficult offense to learn of all 5.
Warren Moon has completed 14 of 18. He hands off to White once again. And he has the first down. Darrell Williams with the catch.
Lorenzo White, the ball carrier. Stopped by Darrell Williams.
Very thing that Cincinnati didn't want was for Houston to take so much time off the clock. Lorenzo White, I believe, has got to be close now to 100 yards. Number 44 just pounding him. Good cut to the inside. 103 yards rushing already for Lorenzo White. And let me tell you something about this man, too. And the number of times I've had a chance to interview him, he wants this. He wants the ball. It's not a situation where he'll get 10 or 12 carries and say, I'm tired. If it's 25 or 30, he's all for it.
Warren deep over the middle, and he overthrows Gibbons. It will be second down and 10. Back of the 22-yard line.
Webster Slaughter had a corner route, and for some reason Warren opted for Gibbons. Take a look at 89 as he comes to the corner. He just beats Rod Jones. Goodness. Oh my, I'm there. Oh, well, okay. Go back. Oh, shoot. Now he's going to come. You know what? I know because I did this a number of times. You come back to the corner and say, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open.
And somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, you're out of here.
Yeah, that's right. Now he comes to the side and tells Kevin Gilbride, and he says, I'm not the guy to talk to.
That's right. I'm still open.
It's number 1 that's throwing the ball.
Second down and 10. Here's the draw with White. And Lorenzo will pick up about 9 more yards. He just continues to ramble right up the middle. McDonald and Crumry on the tackle.
Well, it continues to be a problem. The issue here is when you have those 4 wideouts, and one of the things that the secondary of the Cincinnati Bengals has been doing has been playing off the ball. So it's all well and good to come up and make the tackles, but you can't be making the tackles when White's 7-8 yards downfield.
And meanwhile, Houston has run 4 minutes plus off of the clock in the second half.
Well, that man told us yesterday that to win this game today, they had to play an exceptional game. He acknowledged the fact that there was a talent differential.
Third down and 1. White has the first down, and then is ridden down by Mitchell Price.
Very impressive, the vision of Lorenzo White. He was supposed to go over the right tackle, and he makes the cut back to the left. Watch what he does. This design, watch this, boink, right there. Good job by Maggs there, pushing Williams upfield, enabling him to cut back. And again, the secondary people are the ones that are having to make the tackles.
And it'll be first down and goal to go at the 7-yard line.
Interesting point there. That 6.6-yard average is the average that the Houston offense has per play, which is second in the National Football League. But Lorenzo White is just having the kind of day you dream of as a running back. It's nothing but space there as he comes across.
And the pass is dropped. It is incomplete. Gibbons, the intended receiver. Mitchell Price was there for the defense, but he simply couldn't hold on to it. Second down, goal to go, 7-yard line.
I would think, Charlie, that at this point, again, it's still a competitive ball game up by 2 touchdowns, but this might be an opportunity for Jack Pardee or Kevin Gilbride to put Slaughter in the game and throw him the ball. Because in his first game back, if he could get a touchdown, his confidence would just soar. Jack Pardee. There's Webster Slaughter waiting his turn. Boy, if there's one place a receiver likes to be, it's in the green zone right here. Money time.
Particularly in this offense. Gibbons, touchdown. And Ernest Gibbons has his second touchdown of the afternoon and his 5th of the season.
And his second electric slide and quake. David Fulcher is now standing strong safety, but when he has to go man for man with Ernest Gibbons, that's just a mismatch. There's no way that he can stay with Gibbons. 6'3", 240, just cannot stay with 5'9", 180.
And that is a flawless 82-yard touchdown drive in 10 plays for the Houston Oilers. That took 5 minutes and 18 seconds off of the clock in the second half. Here's the extra point. And it is good. And Houston leads at 31-10.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. By Old Spice, cool, crisp, and clean. It puts the wind in your sails. By Schick Tracer, it traces every curve on your face. And by Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 27.
With 9 minutes and 42 seconds left to go in the third quarter, it is Houston 31, Cincinnati 10. This is Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. As Al Del Greco will be kicking off. Milt Stiegel and Jeff Query are now the return men for Cincinnati. Query on the return from the 5. Tries to get around the corner. Flag is down. Marcus Robertson was there for the Oilers. Penalty against Cincinnati.
First down, Cincinnati. There's a penalty flag down the play.
As you check the 10-minute ticker, here's the call.
97 receiving team on the run back. First down.
And the call goes against Mike Fryer.
You know, people were talking about how after the first 2 weeks, in fact, it might have been your comment when we were talking with David Shule about now the honeymoon is over. You know, the first 2 weeks, you know, they had victories over the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Raiders. And 2 weeks ago, of course,
tipped, it is intercepted. Sean Jones has the ball. The flag is down. Sean, who told us yesterday I'm the most fun-loving guy on the team, has an interception if it stands. It will.
Well, this is, again, coming back to David Shula, and now after the first 2 weeks, a gut-wrenching loss by the Green Bay Packers at the end. But take a look at Boomer here, fading back, very first play of the second half. Tipped in the middle. Good job by Lee Williams. Comes right up to Sean Jones. He catches the gift, and now the Oilers are in business.
Holding, 65 offense is declined. First down.
Well, the big question that this man had right here was how his team was going to react after 2 weeks ago when they had been shellacked at home by the Minnesota Vikings by a 42-7 count. Obviously, if this is the answer, he's got to be a little bit disappointed. Boomer Esiason, 9 interceptions this season. Certainly that one not necessarily his fault. Give Lee Williams credit for making a good play and tapping it in the air. But you can see as Boomer's nodding his head that things just aren't going his way.
And for Sean Jones, that is his first career interception in 9 seasons in the NFL. And here's Lorenzo White.
Well, I'm going to say this because Sean's a buddy of mine, and that is a lot of the reason for that is that he just doesn't have the hands, Charlie. Look at him winking.
You know, we're going to see him next week, and that will be brought up.
You know what he just said? You know what he just said to Dish? He said, "Well, I got one today. How about you?" And of course, in the case of Dishman, he said, "Well, yeah, I did get one, but I got called back."
And what did Sean say? I'm a member of the Leicester School of Thought. I don't care what you talk, what you say, good or bad, just talk about it.
Yeah. Well, after a lengthy holdout, he seems fairly pleased with the way things are monetarily.
Second and goal. Little play action. Fake touchdown, Houston. Haywood Jeffries with his 3rd touchdown of the day. And, of course, the first time he's ever had 3.
Slant by number 84. Back up right there. As soon as he takes a step back, he doesn't have a chance. Eric Thomas looking in that case for the up route that he'd been running near the goal line. But as soon as he stepped back and gave him that opening in the middle, easy pickings for number 1 and 84.
And that's 5 touchdown passes for Warren Moon. That ties his personal record.
And since this offense is not exactly one that runs the ball, he certainly has the potential for more with 8:34 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
And the extra point is good. It is Houston 38 and Cincinnati 10. Back in a moment. Is Dave Shula too young to be a beleaguered head coach?
I don't care if you're 5 or 95. You're going to be beleaguered today.
Remember, I asked him yesterday when we were talking if he has the same look. You know, his dad has that look, you know, that steely-eyed look when you ask the dumb question, and he looks at you and you just want to climb down underneath the chair. And he turned and looked at me and he says, "You haven't asked me a question that deserves the look."
Oh, well, then I guess that was kind of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
We weren't asking dumb questions. Well, this is where after the game he calls his dad, and his dad says to him, "Son, there are going to be days like this."
Right. Milt Stegall and Ostel Mile on the return
Of
team.
course, his dad's going to respond by saying, "I can't be bothered. I'm undefeated." Whoa.
And the ball is down at the 21-yard line. Leonard Harris made the play for the Oilers.
Well, let's take a look at the tenure of David Shula. Of course, at the bottom you can see 7 years, or rather, 7 years as an assistant with his father. And a lot of people feel like that's what got him off to a start. But interesting point that was made in the Sports Illustrated article, he didn't ask for the job. He was in law school. This isn't something he aspired to. But after 3 years at his dad's beckon, working with the team, he decided that this is where he wanted to go. And so a lot of people feel like that maybe it's the surname that gave him the job. But I think it's safe to say that he's qualified. 10 years in the National Football League as an assistant. No doubt about it.
Harold Green, a little swing to the right side of the 29-yard line, gain of 7 on the play.
Well, after the bye week, the big issue here for the Cincinnati ball club was that they really had to see, as David Shula pointed out, he says, what we are made of. because here over the next 4 weeks, including today's game, this is what's happening. Following today at Pittsburgh and then again at Houston, at Cincinnati. They can't play themselves.
Here's Harold Green after the 43-yard line.
I believe that was
at Pittsburgh, at Houston, Cleveland at home, at Chicago the next 4 balls.
Okay. The point here is that they had the Central Division to deal with, and really, of course, you know, as Marty Schottenheimer and others have pointed out to us, those division games count like a game and a half, you know, at the end when you have that tie-break situation.
And here is Derek Finner.
Derek Fenner.
And he is stopped by Ray Childress.
Stopped by Ray Childress as he gets across midfield.
Derek Fenner, former Plan B acquisition for the Cincinnati Bengals from Seattle. You know, Charlie, a couple of years ago, I remember doing a game up in Denver, you and I, where he had something like 140 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Seahawks. And everybody's talking about, boy, you know, this guy's going to be a star. And that year, I think he finished with 15 touchdowns. But last year, he just went into a funk and didn't make a major contribution. As a result, Tom Flores put him on Plan B. And he's been a pretty productive back for the Cincinnati Bengals.
And here is Finner. Slipping tackle, still on his feet inside the 30. Jerry Gray saves the touchdown.
Derek Fenner's an interesting runner from the standpoint of his physique. Very few runners anymore in the National Football League are tall. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. First through Lee Williams' tackle, now through Bubba McDowell's tackle. If Jerry Gray doesn't get him, he goes the distance. Very rare now do you see a runner in the National Football League. The greats in the league, the Thurman Thomases, the Barry Sanders, the Emmitt Smiths, all under 5'10" for that low center of gravity on the AstroTurf. But Fenner shows that you can have a little altitude and get it done.
Report on Carl Pickens, he had to have 4 stitches taken in his right elbow. Should not affect his play. Boomer goes deep. It is caught. Tim McGee, a second touchdown.
McGee showing that he can make the diving catch on both sides. You recall it was a post pattern from the right side. This time they come with the blitz. Dishman man for man on the post. Once again, McGee laying out, cradling the ball with the arms underneath. Nice throw by Boomer. Dishman no help in the center of the field.
So Cincinnati in 5 plays put together a 78-yard touchdown drive. They add the extra point. And it's 38-17 with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. We're in the 3rd. Boomer Esiason with his 2nd touchdown pass of the afternoon. That matches his total for the rest of the year. He now has 4 on the season. And Pardee is signaling everybody up. And the reason is that Jim Breach is kicking off rather than Lee Johnson. Now, Breach is a better onside kicker. But also Lee Johnson has bad hands too. Lee Johnson has a bad back.
That's great.
They were changing tees.
A big secret on this onside kick here. That's funny.
No, I think he's going to go deep. I think it's the back.
No.
Otherwise, they would have.
How can he go deep with the ball pointed that direction, Charlie?
Oh, you're right. Well, everybody has given it away. Tries to find the open space down the other side, and it's fumbled out of bounds. In reality, it is muffed out of bounds. His possession was never retained by Corey Harris.
Mentioned earlier the impressive day that Warren Moon is having with his 5 touchdown passes. We see showing his ambidextrousness by kicking with his left foot. Take a look at the large numbers, the mammoth numbers.
We have a kickoff out of bounds. Last touch by the receiving team. The ball will be placed at that spot. First down.
You realize that this is over 28 miles that Warren Moon has thrown for. About 29,000 of it in the NFL, 21,000 up in the CFL, where he led the Edmonton Eskimos to 5 straight Grey Cup championships. Not today, but next week, a game that we will have in Denver. More than likely, he will pass Ron Lancaster as the all-time passing yardage leader in professional football history. That is some major accomplishment.
This one is incomplete to Lorenzo White. It'll be 2nd down at the Houston 29-yard line.
One of the few times we've seen the ball drop. 5 TDs, 1 interception. That will help that complex rating system. Of course, going into the game, Warren Moon had a 67% completion percentage. And I think the graphic there, which is worth noting, is that he's only thrown the ball 23 times. In the 91 season last year, Charlie, Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers averaged nearly 42 throws a game. And this year, it's less than 35. So that balance has certainly helped out their offense.
And also those numbers, that's just a little over 1 out of every 4 passes that he's thrown today has been for a touchdown. Deep over the middle to Gibbons, and he's got the first down at the 44-yard line. Program note, next Saturday, NBC Sports takes you to Paris for the Arc de Triomphe, Europe's premier horse race. This mile-and-a-half race has been drawing the best thoroughbreds in Europe since 1920. The purse, $1.5 million. Up for grabs. Expect the best again next Saturday on NBC.
Ball at the Oilers, 44 yards.
Gain of 15 yards on the play and a first down for Houston. And we're moving on the 5-minute mark, time remaining in the third quarter. Oilers up 38-17. Lorenzo White, 46-yard line. He has a couple. It'll be second down and 8. A flag down on the play. Alfred Williams and Ricardo McDonald on the tackle.
Johnny Greer caught Bruce Matthews in the backfield, holding, set him back 10. Bruce Matthews, impressive as center, number of Pro Bowls. Not only does he play the center position, he also snaps for both punts and field goals.
Holding, 74, offense. Still first down.
And Charlie, when I asked him about
Bruce Matthews,
and when I asked him about that, I said, well, you know what? Why do you do that? I mean, you know, you're a starter. What's the deal? Why don't you just let somebody else do it? He says, you know what? It's a matter of pride. Every year I say, well, I'm going to concentrate on my offense, but then it comes to training camp, and I want to do it. I like that. I like that sort of attitude.
You know, he enjoys playing games, all kinds of games. Always has a game going on. Listen to Tim Doe. Every time at practice, he got games going on the side. One of the players told me, he said, I think that his kids are the only kids in the world who say, Daddy, will you stop playing games with us and go to work?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That's right. That's right. Yesterday they had the punt drill and they had this throw off the ground
Oh,
thing.
yeah. And it is incomplete to White.
Lorenzo White on the screen pass, they hadn't run that at all, and Warren's got to be upset, and the reason he is, look at how well this is set up in the middle of the field. Take a look. Letting all the people go. Francis running to the outside. Look at this. There's nobody there. Nobody. And a veritable phalanx of blockers, and Warren is not happy about that at all.
There were a lot out there. 34-yard line, second down and 20. I feel like Webster, but for some reason, I'm not sure why. All right, here we go. Moon back to Gibbons. Gibbons a nice little move.
That really was.
Yes, he's going to pick up about 11. He needed 20.
Let me say something about this young man right here that's always impressed me. A couple of plays before, you noticed on the third down catch, he catches over the middle, takes the big hit right there. Hey, we're up 30, scores 38-17. Why don't I just step out of bounds? So what does he do? Steps back in, makes a couple moves, still takes the shots. Ernest Gibbons has always impressed me with his courage, his ability to not only go over the middle, but take the hits and continue to come back.
Another thing in practice yesterday, Gibbons showing a great arm. He was, 60, 70 yards in the air right on target. When we were talking with Warren Moon, Warren Moon says, yeah, he does it now. He said, when we put him in a game and we let him throw, he said, it's a wounded duck. It doesn't go 20 yards. Along the sideline, and the pass is complete.
Wow.
Curtis Duncan. First down, Houston.
A one-man reason why training camp's not that meaningful. 4 months worth of contract negotiations. He shows up like 4 days before the first game, catches 8 passes against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What a job of getting his feet down right there, Curtis Duncan. A 10th round pick out of Northwestern, the 1987 season. Nobody gave him much chance of making the club, but even though he is the least known of the so-called Fab Four, I don't guess that he's the least talented, especially with the hands.
First down, Cincinnati 41-yard line. Just over 3 minutes to go in the third. And here is White. Takes on a lot of moves, doesn't he? Within 5 yards, in and out, bobbing, weaving, looking, always searching for that opening. Rod Jones with the tackle.
When you watch somebody like Lorenzo White run, this is indicative of why I think 40 times are overrated. Well, that's all well and good that you get a guy that can run 4-3 in one direction. You know, that's ability to have lateral movement, both forward and backward. And you're right, his ability to cut that low center of gravity. And then when it meets a tackler, it's 220 pounds of movement. I mean, you're absolutely right. Does a great job of bouncing off the turf. By the way, are you surprised here that Slaughter's not in the game?
Yeah.
I would think that at this time this would be a great opportunity to get him game experience when it's not overly competitive, so to speak.
And getting used to this offense. Haywood Jeffries. It was 2nd and 3. He picks up the first down. Eric Thomas with the tackle.
Well, at this point, it's almost as if like I don't want to. I'm not trying to belittle it by saying it's almost like a scrimmage atmosphere, but in reality, this really would be a good chance for Webster Slaughter to get in. Not only, as you say, to incorporate the offense into his mindset, but to get hit a little bit, to get tackled, to get blocked, to get those collisions in. Because it's one thing to go run by yourself, lift by yourself, and say you're in shape. Trust me, that's not the same as football shape. And you got to get out there, and you got to mix it up a little bit.
First down at the 26-yard line. Play action fake to Lorenzo White down the middle and is incomplete. Haywood Jeffries, the intended receiver. Good coverage by Eric Thomas. He didn't bite on the fake.
Well, it was pretty good coverage, but if you see the replay, you get a chance to see a replay. He certainly should have caught this ball. Eric Thomas doesn't touch it, and Warren Moon with the bootleg. Goodness. Take a look at the fake, and then he goes bootleg. Ooh, yes. Now watch this. Eric Thomas never touches this ball. That's very catchable. That hit him right in the chest. Haywood Jeffries wishes he had that one back, because that could have been his 4th touchdown.
Moon now 20 of 29 for 203 yards, 1 interception, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns for Warren Moon, tying his best afternoon. Far side to Haywood Jeffries, and he's got it. Eric Thomas with the hit.
Haywood Jeffries racking up some serious numbers.
On the tackle for Cincinnati was Eric Thomas.
Look at the room Eric Thomas gives him. Haywood Jeffries is fast. Look at this. A little move to the outside. Warren never looked anyplace else. He knew he was coming to Jeffries. Knew he had cover one, as they say in the terminology, which means man for man. Threw the comeback right on the money. And Brady Ford is having a whale of a day.
9 receptions, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. 2 bruised elbows. First down, 13-yard line. And meanwhile, here's Lorenzo White, who is having a career day. This is his 21st carry. And with the ball being spotted at the 8-yard line, that means he has rushed for 134 yards.
Well, he hasn't done anything to damage his yards from scrimmage status coming into this game. In fact, if that score is indicative of Buffalo's inability to run the ball, he could pass Thurman Thomas today with the numbers he's putting up.
And the ball at the 8-yard line is we'll take the countdown now to the end of the 3rd quarter. So we'll put 3 in the books. We've got 1 remaining. It is Houston 38 and Cincinnati 17. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Stadium, this is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. Houston out in front of Cincinnati by a score of 38-17. And the Oilers have the ball at the 8-yard line of the Bengals. And it is 2nd down and 5. Houston going on as expected to win this game. Their record then would go to 4-1. They would be atop the Central Division. Pittsburgh dropping to 3-2, losing to Cleveland today. So Cincinnati and Cleveland would be tied in for 3rd with a record of 2-3. But Houston atop the Central Division with a 4-1 record if they go on to win today.
And you made an interesting point, Charlie, and that was that maybe that first game loss to Pittsburgh was a blessing in disguise.
Well, it can refocus your whole ball club when you lose. Interception intercepted in the end zone and then run out by Darrell Williams. Williams down the sideline, and then Moon pulls him out.
I don't know if Warren Moon has made any bad passes today except for this one. Take a look. Throws right to number 31, right into double coverage. He doesn't anticipate. He doesn't even look. Easy interception for Darrell Williams, who cuts up the field, and as often happens, the quarterback's the guy that makes the play at the end. Number 1, showing a good grip.
Dave Shula, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. We asked him the difference in being a head coach and assistant. He said, well, before you made recommendations, now you make decisions.
It's a good way of putting it.
Time of possession, Houston more than 31 minutes, Cincinnati 13. Oh, that's more than 2-1. Cincinnati from their own 27-yard line. Boomer throws, knocked away.
Now, it's interesting to me why the official completely from the other side of the field makes that call. Now, Jerry Gray comes to the other side of the field and says to the official, why aren't you making the call? It's actually a good call. Bubba McDowell did arrive early, but the man that makes the call is completely across the field when he throws his flag.
Pass interference. 25, defense. First down.
Clearly number 25, watch in the middle. You're going to see he's going to arrive just a little bit too soon. Here comes the ball. Bang, right there. They're too soon. Good call, even though it's at a distance.
First down, 34-yard line. Boomer back to throw. Has pressure, dumps it off to Harold Green. Green steps over an Oiler. Stretches out close to the 40-yard line. So he'll get 6. It'll be second down and 4. Al Smith with the tackle. When we talked with Boomer yesterday, you know, they were really booing him in the Minnesota game here. He's had a few boos here today. And when we talked to him about it, he said, well, I told my wife after the game, he says, don't take it personally. He said if they all knew me, they would applaud.
A little self-serving there.
No, I like that approach, though.
Well, I will say this, the one thing that I had respect about Boomer is that while we were there, we had some people come up to us and say, oh, no, you know, Boomer doesn't want to talk because he's really having some problems. You know, leave him alone, leave him alone. And we were going to leave him alone. Then we were in the locker room, and you said, you turned to him and said, we hear you don't want to talk. He says, who said that?
Who said that? Come on.
It's no problem.
Give me 2 minutes. He sat down. We visited for about 25 minutes. He would have talked for another hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
He's a stand-up guy.
He really is. First down, 46-yard line. And it is incomplete. Jim Riggs, the tight end, the intended receiver. And he wanted another pass interference call. He didn't get it.
Well, that's the frustration here by number 7. I mean, it's only, look at this. It's only going to be about a 6-yard gain anyway. And right there, no, nothing wrong with that. Had a little of the jersey before, but that was before the ball was thrown.
Second down and 10, 46-yard line. This pass is complete at the Houston 49-yard line.
And Al Smith had about an 8-yard run.
And Boomer's coming out. He really took a hit.
Al Smith, the middle linebacker who's in as a spy, just decides he's just going to take off. Watch from the right of your screen. You're going to watch number 54 just come flying into the screen and hit number 7 right on the left arm as it comes down. Bang, there's the helmet. Right on the 4, and he grasps it right away. And I think that probably what they're looking for here is they want to see the high-priced rookie, but instead of David Klingler, they're going to have Don Hollis come in to replace him.
Well, Klingler is carried as one of the 2 inactives, and so both quarterbacks have to go down for Klingler to play.
Of course, considering it's interesting, Charlie, because considering the circumstances here, maybe they could have been better suited, given now the score of the game and everything else, to give him some game time, just as now Webster Slaughter should get some game time when Houston gets the ball back.
Hollis looks around, and he stops the clock with a timeout.
Cincinnati.
Houston
Number 1.
38, Cincinnati 17, 12:58 time remaining in the game. Back in a moment. Boomer Esiason now with that left arm. He is left-handed in a sling. Obviously in great pain, and now on the cart, and they will take him underneath the stadium for the x-ray.
Well, he took a direct hit right on the arm. That was, you could tell, that was a lot of pain. And I like this. A lot of people have been booing. Now we see some people giving him a standing ovation as he goes off. I mean, it's not, people have to understand, it's not like he's not trying. You know, it's not like he's out there going, boy, I'm going to fix these 57,000 people and not play well. You know, I mean, it's sometimes people can be unmerciful. Here's the shot again. Watch 54 come flying in. Watch as the arm is down. Take a look. Arm comes down. Pow! Helmet face mask right on the wrist, and he grabs it right away. Man. That hurts.
Besides his numbers on the game, 12 of 26, 151 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Donald Hollis, coming into the ball game, has completed 2 of 5 for 13 yards in the year. No touchdowns, no interceptions.
Former defensive back from Rice University. Converted to quarterback. It's either his junior or senior year. Really a long shot to make the club, but they liked his athletic ability. He could do a lot of things.
And here's Harold Green. And he's going to lose a couple. And it'll be 4th down.
I know he's the new quarterback just in the game, but what's the thinking on that? You got 3rd and 5. Do you have to throw?
Well, you're going to throw now because it's 4th down and they're going for it.
Okay.
Give him 1 to warm up, but now he's going.
But I mean, if you're going to take if you are going to take the timeout, then do something besides run off tackle.
4th and 7. He completes the pass, has the 1st down. He goes to Brian Brennan. 40-yard line of Houston.
A funny note there on that 4th down play. If you see the guy that caught Brian Brennan at the end, we probably can't show it to you, but the guy that caught him with the backward hat there on the sidelines is number 9 for the Houston Oilers. That man's name is Greg Montgomery. Take a look at the end. Now watch as he gets caught. This is the least busiest guy in the field right there is number 9. He's the punter for the Houston Oilers. Heading into this game, interesting point, he had an average of 49.8. But because he only had, I believe it's 8 punts, he doesn't 9 punts, excuse me.
He had to have 10 to qualify.
He doesn't qualify for the leaders. The way the offense is going today, he's not going to qualify again.
That's right. Brian Brennan, the intended receiver. Bubba McDowell broke it up.
So here's a point.
He's an all-pro kicker that can't get into the ballgame.
Well, he got the nickname of the Maytag repairman after the famous commercial. But my question here is, does he shower after the game?
Not with the players.
Not with the real players. You go over here.
Yeah, right. Did you kick? Oh, okay.
Okay, get out of here. Just get your clothes on. A little deodorant, you'll be fine. 2nd
down and 10. 11:47 left in the game. Hollis goes deep and it's knocked away. Dishman with the defensive play. McGee, the intended receiver. And the report is just a possibility. Now, they have not had the x-rays yet, but it is a possible fracture. And as soon as we get a report on the x-rays, of course, we will pass on. Again, that's just a possibility. That is not a definitive report.
Well, a definitive report here was that was excellent coverage by Chris Dishman, man for man all the way. He's one of the people they had to get back after that first week loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember yesterday, Jim Eddy saying, I got my cover guy back.
3rd down and 10. Maybe delay a game.
Well, again, the inexperience.
Offense. Still 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd down and 15.
defensive coordinator for the Oilers, as we've mentioned before, Jim Eddy, is still working it. It's not as if he's laying back. Even with a 3-touchdown lead, he's doing some things to confuse the youngster and confuse us too as he does his air traffic thing.
How do you?
You know,
I don't know anybody that enjoys his job as much as this man does. He brings so much enthusiasm to this game.
yeah, it was somebody, I don't know who it was that told me that. They said if the king of the world were to say no more football tomorrow, this guy would just be devastated.
Hollis fumbles it forward. That almost looked as if it was an intentional forward fumble.
I think it was. I think it was. And if the officials are heads up, they'll pick up on that.
There were no flags.
Watch as he runs. Now take a look. Take a look as to whether or not you think this is intentional. Does Lamar Lathan strip him or not?
Oh, he does.
Oh, he
Oh, he
sure
does.
does?
He does.
Okay. I stand corrected.
And a heads-up play by Tim McGee. The ball at the 33-yard line. It is 4th down and 3. Is going to run for it. He is hit, knocked back, dives, and he may have it.
You have to like this. You gotta like this.
Put the ball down right up there.
Oh,
Did you call that he stepped out of bounds? He put the ball out over there and he did not step out of bounds. We're going to measure.
We'll take another look to see what he's arguing
Needless to
about.
say, David Shula, where's the ball go? Does he ever go out of bounds, and where's the ball? Right there. They gave it to him, so the argument is over with. This is good to see from two standpoints. David Shula still very much in the ball game, despite the fact that his team is down 3 touchdowns. And Donald Hollis, unlike other quarterbacks that might slide or step out of bounds and say, forget it, I don't want to get hurt, does the lunge, giving the Cincinnati Bengals first down at the 30-yard line.
Cincinnati now 6 of 7 4th down conversions this year. That's the good news. The bad news is we've had a lot of conversion tries on 4th down. Hollis scrambling around. Now he's going to run for it again to the 20. And a flag is down.
Harold Green and Lamar Lathan are going into it. It'll be interesting to see who the official saw swing first. Bottom of your screen, you're not going to get a chance to see it, but they were going at it hammer and tongs. While Donald Hollis is actually performing the football part of it. Now here's the argument. Lathan wants a part of it. Who gets what?
Look at the look on Johnny Greer, the referee. What else is going on in this
I was going to
ballgame?
say Field Judge Scott Green has showed a lot of moxie there, pushing Lamar Lathan out of the way.
Look at that look.
Showing
Well, let's just go play football.
Yeah.
Come on.
We have offsetting personal fouls during the down. They offset, we'll replay the down, first down.
Oh, what an effect that. Did you see Chris Dishman pat him on the back? Yeah, good call.
Good call, good call.
Take a look at defensive coordinator Jim Eddy during this play. Taking a look. Come on, get him sacked. Get him sacked. Get him sacked. No. Come on. Come on. That's what happens when you have good athletic ability there at quarterback, is escapability, and he's not very happy about that. Once again, the focus. This man never gets tired of it.
Now a quick officials conference.
Do you remember when we were in Houston and he was showing us how excited he was about that new contraption?
Yes. The new telestrator.
Come here, sit down. Let me show you this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was like one of my sons with a new Nintendo. You know, he was just so thrilled to show us what this thing could do now. Now, see if the receiver here goes in the 2 deep zone, I can diagram. You know, boy, oh boy. It's enthusiasm. I mean, it's infectious. It's hard not to like.
Fumble on the snap. Houston says they have it. got even more pushing and shoving. Cincinnati apparently retained possession of the football. The offensive team for the Oilers started out from the far sideline. Now they go back.
Just tried to get back too fast. Looked for a minute there like Ray Childress might have had it. But there Don Hollis gets underneath. And as you've seen so many times, it's not necessarily the first guy that has the ball that is going to be the one who comes up with it.
Second down and 12 at the 32-yard line. We're moving on the 10-minute mark. Time remaining in the ball game. Hollis to throw. Left side pass is complete. Stiegel with a nice inside spinning move. Finally brought down by Darrell Lewis. Mike Stiegel, the rookie from Miami, a free agent.
Sean Jones gets past Anthony Munoz, and Hollis shows a lot of courage here. Fading back. We're not going to get a chance to show it to you, but unlike the last couple of plays where he was able to scramble out and run for first downs, he took a shot from Sean Jones underneath the chin and still completed the pass.
Third down and 2. Hollis rolls out right, throws a little low, and it is caught by Brennan. Hangs on to it as he is really nailed by Jerry Gray, and we've got flag.
Well, here's the situation. Jerry Gray pushes him down, tackles him, legitimate, and he must have said something, because what happened is that Brennan then throws the ball at him. That's what the official is about. Now the taunting and everything else is getting into it, and I think that Brennan is the one that they're going to get for taunting Jerry Gray. It was just a tackle at the end. He might have added a little something to it, but it's certainly well within his rights to put the hit on Brennan.
Personal foul, taunting on the defense, number 83. You will set the sticks for first down and mark off 15 yards.
You know that Johnny Greer means offense, number 83, Brennan. Now watch, he pushes him down. Now watch when he gets up. He says, oh.
No.
Now see, that was the problem.
No.
If he hadn't
No. That's not a call.
If he hadn't thrown the ball and hit the ref in the foot.
If the ref had not been there, the official had not been, he just turned and was throwing the ball back down. I don't think that's taunted.
Well, again, as I'm saying, I think
wasn't throwing it at the player.
No, but
and
again,
he wasn't throwing it at the official.
But if the official doesn't get hit in the foot, he got hit in the foot by it, and so
the official's out of position.
He took umbrage to it. He took umbrage to his throw. That's what it was about.
It's the old umbrage call. You would have said that. Well, that's a terrible call.
Now, plus the fact that there's so much verbiage going on in the field anyway. I'm inclined to go along with it here. That's a little bit ticky-tack.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what it was.
Back at the 31, it's going to be...
It's an umbrage call. You're
umbrage
right.
call. First down to 25. Haven't seen the umbrage call in about 7 years in the NFL. I guess they're emphasizing umbrage again. That's enough.
Well, that's because the umbrage defense is not what it once was.
First and 25. People in the middle, pass is caught. And it is Brennan again, the favored receiver of Donald Hollis.
Now watch how quick Brian Brennan ducked under the hits of the two safeties. Watch 83. As soon as he gets the ball, duck! Everybody's going after him. Bang! They really wanted to make him pay for that taunting. But he was smart. He hasn't been in the league this long without knowing how to protect himself.
12-yard line. And it is second down. Second and 7. Hollis, good protection. Pass all alone. At the right side is Stiegel. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Mike Stiegel's first touchdown in the NFL.
Well, Milt Stiegel gets out in the clear, and one of the cornerbacks slips. The one that comes up to get him, Bubba McDowell on the ground. Oh, man. Darrell Lewis hits his own man, Steve Jackson, and they both go down. Hollis happy about the touchdown. After the extra point, we'll get another, another left-footed onside kick?
Could be.
Right? I'm on pins and needles.
Yeah, I know you are. 38-23, 8:16, time remaining in the ball game. Good good news for Boomer Esiason. Just a bad bruise. X-rays negative. Just a bad, deep bruise on the forearm of Boomer Esiason. No break.
You know, every time I hear somebody say that, when it's about somebody else's injury, good, you know, it's like good news, Boomer, but he's the one that's in pain.
Yes, but
he's in serious pain.
Not as much pain as you would have been if it was in a fracture.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, it'll be funny. People come and say, "Hey, good deal. It's not a break. You're okay."
Yeah, right. That I really hurt. Jim Breach with the extra point attempt, and it is good. And the score is Houston 38, Cincinnati 24.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By Levi's Dockers. Nobody does color like Dockers. By 2-day priority mail service from your post office. And by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right.
As we come back, the Oilers expecting an onside kick, and they have Webster Slaughter, the man they say has the best hands. He is on the front line, second down from the top.
But trust me, this is no fun. I mean, it's a no-win situation because you're supposed to catch the ball, and if you do, you get absolutely creamed.
And now they come back to this side where the open space is once again. And down the sideline is Pat Coleman.
What?
What?
I don't get it. I don't get the left-footed thing. You got to at least give it a shot.
Well, they were just trying to pop it in that little open space that was there. And
but they tried it before and it didn't work. So why, you know, why not try something else?
I don't know. Maybe it's the only onside kick they have. Maybe that needs work.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be back in a moment. Just over 8 minutes to go in the ball game.
Charlie, Warren Moon in the game. 8 minutes left. I mean, they're up by 2 touchdowns. Are you surprised?
No. 14 points. That's not a lot of points. A couple of quick turnovers, a couple of touchdowns, and all of a sudden Cincinnati could be back in it. You want your main man, Warren Moon, there.
It just dawned on me, foolish me. I recall a game last week where the score was 19-6 with 6 minutes left, and Kansas City had the ball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, things could turn around.
Oh, they do.
It's a good point.
Lorenzo White. Houston, of course, will take as much time off of the clock as they can. Tonight, following the presidential debate, don't miss the show that has captivated America, Eyewitness Video. Then best-selling author Jackie Collins brings her hottest book to the television screen, a mini-series where power and lust go hand in hand. Those are 2 running backs, power and luck. No. Lady Boss. That's tonight on NBC.
Power and lust. Jeez.
I wondered. I thought maybe you nodded off.
I thought you were reading your social calendar or something.
Second down and 7. Houston has thrown 49-yard line. 7.5 minutes to go. Oilers up by 14. And again, here's White. And he's just churning it out. A career day for Lorenzo White. James Francis with the tackle. He's now rushed for 144 yards.
There it is, 145 yards. Of course, given the offense here, you might think that a career day, big deal. What's 145 yards when guys are churning out those numbers all the time? But when you're on a team that throws the ball 40+ times a game, that really is quite an accomplishment.
First down, Houston. Next week, Houston will be at Denver Mile High Stadium the second half of the doubleheader on NBC. And Cincinnati will be at Pittsburgh. Houston's next 4 games: Denver, home against Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh, and then home against Cleveland. Cincinnati is at Pittsburgh, at Houston, home against Cleveland, and then at Chicago against the Bears. Moon makes the successful handle as he was falling backwards. And Lorenzo picks up 9 yards before Darrell Williams makes the tackle.
Yeah, it had kind of a Dick Barnett quality, the fall-away jumper. Warren Moon falling down here, gets stepped on. Oh, just gets in the ball. Thank goodness. And as a result, Once again, Lorenzo White cutting to the outside for the 9-yard line. Well, maybe not Dick.
Second and 1.
Second down and a yard to go for the first down.
Although a couple of years ago, Charlie, in fact, it was 10 years ago when I was with the Oakland Raiders, we played a basketball game against the Edmonton Eskimos up in Edmonton. And I can, Warren can hoop a little bit. Yeah.
They were waiting on Lorenzo White that time, led by Lamar Rogers. Daniel Stubbs also there. And it'll be third down with the ball back at the 39-yard line. So a loss of 3, third down and 4. And Cincinnati takes their second timeout, stopping the clock at the 5:55 mark. They have one timeout remaining. The score is Houston 38 and Cincinnati 24. Back to Riverfront Stadium. Houston in front of Cincinnati 38-24 with 5:55 left to go in the game. And it is third down. Curtis Duncan, the receiver there, to say no, he trapped it. So it'll be fourth down. Antoine Bennett had the coverage.
Well, Curtis Duncan's arguing the point. He's not one to be too theatrical. Let's take a look if his hands are underneath the ball. That vantage point is kind of tough to see.
Nah, he trapped it.
Okay, geez.
Oh, look at that. Boom. See?
No, that's a catch.
No, hit the ground.
That's a catch.
Point hit the ground.
Tell me again how many passes you caught in the NFL.
Hello.
I always.
As Ernest Hemingway once said, you do not have to die to write a death scene. So, so there.
Touche.
I've been saving that one for years.
Oh my gosh, he's stiff. What's he doing out there?
He's going to kick, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see this very often. Now they want to take a few. You know what they want to do? They want to take some delay of games here to give him some yardage so he doesn't mess up his average.
Exactly. Yeah,
he really does, and they should. I mean, this best case would be a 45-yard kick. Now his average is 49.8. He has a net of 45.
Wow.
I mean, he is an awesome punter. Never gets an opportunity.
Well, there's nobody back, so he's got a really good chance of just dinking the thing. But of course,
you go for the corner.
They're going for the all-out block here.
Oh no, he's just trying to float it down. And he floats it out. A terrible kick. Well, you know, it's not that bad. It's going to be out around the 16-yard line. But he floated it. It didn't look that impressive.
What do you mean not that bad? 24-yard. What does that do to his average now?
It's terrible for his average. But it's closer to qualifying him for the lead.
Oh, I see. Plus, he gets that all-important inside the 20 punt, right?
It is 7 o'clock Eastern time. A reminder that the presidential debate is coming up, and then following the games on most of the station. They don't miss the show that has captivated America, Eyewitness Video, followed by Lady Boss. We have 5 minutes and 42 seconds left to go in the game, and Cincinnati has the ball in the first down, and they trail by 14 points. Hollis pass is complete to Tim McGee. He's going to pick up about 3, maybe 4 yards on the play. Darrell Lewis with the stop. They'll mark it at the 19-yard line, so it's good for 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Trying to get things organized. Don Hollis is going to have to throw the ball downfield a little bit. He can complete those 5-6-yarders all day. Houston will certainly give that up. Going to have to hit something in the intermediate range.
Cincinnati with only one timeout remaining, and this pass is incomplete to Jim Riggs. Steve Jackson had the coverage for Houston, and it will be third down. And in case you joined us late, Boomer Esiason came out of the ball game with an injury to his left forearm or his left wrist. It is a deep bruise. They were afraid at first it might have been a fracture. The good news, it is not. It's just a deep bruise in that left forearm. So he has been replaced by Donald Hollis at quarterback. And it is third down and 7 as we move on the 5-minute mark. 5:09 left to go in the ball game. Hollis' pass is complete to McGee. McGee had the first down, and then he tried to circle and pick up a couple of more yards. And so it's going to be right on the marker.
That was actually a pretty generous spot. You're absolutely right. Tim McGee, when he cut back, cut behind the first down marker. And he's coming over to plead his case.
And the marker, they had signaled the first down, and they started to move with the sideline markers. Now they've got to go back and take the measurement to make it official, and they're going to mark it short. So McGee had it and then let it get away from him.
The mark is just beyond the 25-yard line. Let's see where he lands down. His butt right there, and then the ball goes out of bounds. He's going to take it where his butt is, which was right on the chalk stripe there. So what they're going to have to do here, more than likely, is they're going to have to get their running offense in, at least to get the first down, because if for whatever reason the ball is incomplete, needless to say, it goes back to the Oilers.
Derek Finner, Eric Ball are in the ball game,
as well as Rodney Holman and Jim Riggs are tight ends.
And Craig Thompson. They've got 3 tight ends and their 2 running backs in their power offense. Fourth down and inches. And here is Finner, has the first down. Across the 30, he's out to the 32-yard line.
Got the first down, but that definitely cost him some time. They're going to cost him between 30 and 40 seconds now to get everybody regrouped and get the play called in their sugar huddle.
And remember that Cincinnati has only 1 timeout remaining, and they're down by 14 points, 38-24.
It might be the inexperience of the quarterback, Charlie, to not get him up to the line of scrimmage a little bit sooner, but they certainly don't have that sense of urgency.
Hollis avoided the first sack, and then he was nailed by Lee Williams.
William Fuller with the initial push, and once he spun out of that, Lee Williams there to collect the garbage.
Back at the 23, it'll be second down, and don't forget, following the game, the presidential debate here on NBC.
Defensive linemen, they want those sacks. As soon as if they make the effort to get in there and get there first, a lot of times it becomes frustrating. I'm sure a little bit on the part of William Fuller to do all the work, and the guy spins out, and Lee Williams just happens to be there to nail him.
Second down and 19. Brennan is in motion. Hollis to throw, and it is incomplete. That'll stop the clock. 3:39 left to go in the ball game. Brennan, the intended receiver, with Darrell Lewis, the defensive coverage.
Once again, the inexperience shows. Here you have second and very long, and you're trying to get some of it back, but you're only throwing 7-yard patterns. Tough spot to be in if you're a young quarterback.
Third down and 19. Hollis has completed 7 of 11 for 68 yards and a touchdown. And the Oilers drawn off sides. That was Sean Jones.
Sean Jones pointing at Bruce Kozlowski.
96, defense.
But to no avail.
The third down.
Sean in the offseason works for Dean Witter, and not myself, you too. Everybody was in there trying to get some tips.
Oh, yeah.
Some financial
tips. When we talked to him asking for some financial advice, his whole attitude, his whole outlook changes. The voice is deeper, and he's more professional, and he wasn't the casual football. And he's good.
It's very important for football players not to be considered one-dimensional.
No, he's a very sharp investor, too. Here is Harold Green. Shakes off the first hit, and then the second man gets him. He's going to pick up a couple of yards on the play. It's going to be fourth down, still around 11 yards to go for the first down. And Lee Johnson will come in to kick.
Well, that's the concession right now, and that's what the crowd's booing about. Again, you know, that was a Garrison effort on the part of Harold Green on that last catch. I mean, that was actually a very impressive 2-yard gain, bouncing off tacklers. But again, the thought is, you know, you've got 3rd and 15. Why are you throwing the ball so short?
Could it be a fake?
No, it's too late for that. The surprise factor is long gone.
Here's the kick. Pat Coleman stays away from it. And the ball will be down to around the 23-yard line in Houston territory with 2 minutes and 38 seconds left to go in the ball game. Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL football action beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time.